Morning. Good morning, Roxanne. Tuesday blessings to you as well. And it seems today we might be getting showers of blessings. It seems to be pretty overcast right now. Oriagani, morning. Rutrude, morning. Roxanne says it's nice and rainy in South. Okay, so yeah, well, be overcast in the east. So hopefully we will get some rain soon because again the reservoirs need it. And we're drawing to the rainy season is drawing to a close, and we still have not had the level of rain that we require or accustomed to. But then again, they said the start of the dry season might be a bit rainy, but yeah, it wouldn't be the first time they got it wrong. Arlene Lewis, morning. Priscilla Holder, morning to you. Um, Rookman says, a blessed rainy morning to you. So I guess where Rookman is, it's also raining. Um, see Annette Neptune, morning. Ann Niles, Pamela Moses, morning. Pamela. Cyril Mayas, morning. Sir Pauline Buckmeyer, morning. Pauline, all the way out in Florida. J Dimples, 66, morning. Carol Boyce John, Winston Jones, Deborah Duranty, Kenneth Gabriel, Jackie Graham, morning, guys. You've Danny Bruce, Pamela O'Connor, Leon Graves, morning to all of you. Patty Kutu, Angela Kati, Denise Bramble, Shah, Sandra Rogers, Marlon Blaze, morning, folks. Alana Gonzalez, um, Mindful Consumer, morning. Alberta Sampat, morning. Jennifer Nicholas, Donna Walcott, morning to you guys. Annette Beard. Deborah says rain set up here also. Where are you from, Deborah? Key Borrell, morning. Leon says it's raining in Toko. Lovely weather they're having. Maria Ed. Well, I guess it's a nationwide thing. That is good. Carol Myers, morning. Carol says good rainy morning, so I guess it started by Carol as well. Deanne Charles, morning, Deanne. Alicia Alman de Roche, morning. Sarah Richards, morning to you. Minad Lazare. Deborah is here too. Jennifer Ferron, morning, Jennifer. John Edwards, Claire Irish, morning, guys. Emmeline Harvey, morning. Winston Jones, morning, sir. Nadia Lewis Dixon, morning to you. Gemma White Isaac, Denise Reed, Kurt Shaw, Esther James, morning, folks. Brian Deming, morning to you. Theophilus Lockheed, morning. Eva Smith Spivey, morning. Good morning to His Excellency, President of the Republic of Pleasantville, Nigel O'Connor, First Lady Marcia Keegan. Nigel says it's overcast there as well in Pleasantville. Yes. Well, I guess the reservoirs will be happy today. Gemma Alexander, Alison Phillips, Celestine Shelton, Aline, morning to you folks. Andel George, Margaret Matheson, Kevin Thomas, Sarah Richards, morning. Alicia says the weather is set up in St. Joseph as well. Okay. Ian Michael Glowden, Seychelle Hadara Lambert, morning. Deborah is from Grandy, so all over, which is good news. Right, so let me jump into it because it's already 6. What's the time now? 6:44. Okay. It was one of those mornings. So I came across a video that I wanted to play, and it was in response to a statement that was made a couple of weeks ago by the Minister of Tourism, Randall Mitchell, in responding to or addressing, the perennial complaints that you get from citizens, or the almost daily complaints you get from citizens about how Trinidad is not a real place, and Trinidad this, Trinidad that, complaining, government wicked, things so hard in Trinidad, brain drain, people graduating and they can't get jobs. In fact, last night the UNC had a new what want to call it? Right? They didn't have their typical Monday night forum, right? They had a town hall. So I guess Mrs. Prasad Bisasa again, obsessed with American style politics, decided to have a town hall meeting. So she, the proposed, so it has been reported, UNC candidate for San Fernando West to challenge Faris. I can't remember the guy's name, but I think he's a former principal of Naparima or something. Naparima, one of those Naparima schools. Sean Sobers and some other guy for them. I just took a little peep because it really wasn't making sense. So the four of them sat down there, and I guess I tuned in late. So then they had open mic where persons could come up and speak, and I thought it was to ask questions based on how a town hall goes. People would address questions to the panel, and then they'd respond. But it was just persons coming up one by one with a whole tirade um, to talk about why Kamala Prasad Bisasa needs to come back and the poor leadership in the country and so on. And again, there is need, absolute, definite need, as if we didn't know already, for the misinformation to be combated because these guys come so-called bright people. One guy come up to talk about he graduated in 2016 and then the election was in 2015. He said that about 3 times, as if we didn't know the election was in 2015. And he graduated in 2016 and it took him a whole year to get a job. And then he finally did get a job. And Kamala says, yes, thank God he got a job. But he has so many friends who also graduated with him and they didn't get a job for another 2 to 3 years. And then he spoke about the OJT. And when you look at some recent report article that was in the newspaper that pointed to the number of OJT recruits dropping every year, and this government not even they're not providing opportunities for the youth. And Kamala Prasad Bisasa needs to come back because we need a leader like her who will create jobs and create opportunities for the youth because they have no opportunities for the youth. I'm thinking, where you living? What rock you came out from under? Because there is so much happening, and I'm tired talk about this. So much happening in the Ministry of Youth Development, right? But these guys still talking about jobs and jobs. So you go to the university, you study, you get a degree, and the expectation is that you're going to come out of when you graduate, because you have a degree, you're supposed to get a job in some senior position, earning $15,000 to $20,000 plus a month. That doesn't even happen in the US, right? Depending on what you study. And not just the US, and other jurisdictions as well, depending on what you study. I mean, you're going, if you study finance in New York, might get you with something on Wall Street. And if you're bright, you might move up quick. But you still have to serve your period of apprenticeship. But he complaining. It took him a whole year to find a job. I came across a site, or if you want to call it that, on a profile on Facebook. Local, right? Advertising jobs. So it's like a group of employment agencies came together along with some private companies and so on, and they're advertising positions that are available. And I'm going through this list, and there's hundreds and hundreds of jobs available. Hundreds of jobs available in practically every field that you could think about. And in the comments, you have people asking, you'll have any jobs in accounting? You have any jobs in engineering? And they're getting responses. Yes, all you had to do was to go through the list and you would see. But again, the Headline Readers Association, or some of them too lazy to actually click the link and go in and look through all of the positions. I just scroll through to see, is this something that I should share? And there's hundreds and hundreds of jobs. When you look at giving you the average salary range to public service as well, and as pretty decent salaries. They're telling you the range in some of the jobs, the range is between 9 to 15,000. Some of them is between 15 to 20,000. You have some of these private operators who have planes and so on. They're looking for captains, pilot in command, paying between $40,000 to $50,000 a month. Decent salaries. But we complaining a whole year you have to wait to get a job and they have no jobs and brain drain and people coming out of university with a degree and then they have to go abroad as if it's that easy to go abroad. So you graduate from UWE, have a degree, and then guess what? You just hop on a plane and go abroad and you get a job. But that's the kind of forum that Pasabi Sessa is encouraging, right? Get people to pay people, probably not pay. Let me not say pay, 'cause I don't have any evidence of that. But get people who you know are loyal to you to come up and complain and gripe about all the hardships that they're going through and how they're suffering. And next guy comes up to talk about he and his wife talking about bullying, and he and his wife had a disagreement over how he should treat with the bullying because he thinks you should create a school specially for bullies, right? And identify who the bullies are in the various schools and put all of them in this bullying or bully school. And he says, call it that, the bully school. So if you have 10 of them in Naparima or whichever, because he highlighted the prestige schools and so on in South, and he's saying, because the town hall was in South, take them out of the mainstream school and put all of them in this school for bullies. And what do you think going to happen? That makes sense, right? That makes sense to him. No wonder why his wife, anyway, not good. But I started off by talking about this video that I came across um, by a guy who goes by the profile name The Opinion Box. Some of you may have encountered him before. And it's one of those videos that just get me upset. Well, let me play this, right? Let me play this. So, all right, morning to Florence, Bazzi. Morning, Florence. Um, oh boy. So, folks, let me just get this here. And I'm playing this because to show you all these simple things that is drawing the attention of the average citizen. I read an article quite recently, a couple of days ago, talking about why the government of Trinidad and Tobago should be wary of the recent result of the US election 1 week ago, and the possibility that a similar situation could happen here. That while some people may have written off the UNC and the viability of the UNC and Kamala Persad-Bissessa to run the government of Trinidad and Tobago again, it is not beyond the realm of possibility. In fact, it is quite probable that that could happen because of the issues that some people are focusing on, the issues that is causing a certain level of discontent and hatred by a wide cross section of the population towards the government. And in most cases, is because of propaganda and old talk. And not enough. And people, I get calls every day from people asking me, what the party doing, man? What going on with social media? What we doing about all of these lies and the misinformation that is in the public space? People call me every day to tell me they're in a private WhatsApp group or in some group on Facebook or something, and it is being infiltrated by persons who support the UNC or persons who are anti-government, and the kind of things that they read inside some of these groups and that is posted by persons who are supporters of the UNC or who are against the government. And most of the times is misinformation. Before I play that, let me give you all an example. From time to time, you all hear me talk about well, I don't even know if I want to call him my friend, right? Because right now he too dumb to be my friend. He sends me something yesterday, right? And I saw this posted on the Facebook page of Kick Out the PNM. For those of you who may not be aware, Kick Out the PNM, right? So it was a screenshot of a post from somebody by the name of Honorable or William Lockhart. Mr. Lockhart is a Guyanese national, right? Who seems to be anti-PNM. And from time to time, he posts stuff. And the most recent thing that he posted, here's what it says. In Guyana, one of my credit card limit is US 250,000. But Okay. It's unfortunate to see the situation that Trinidad and Tobago have found themselves in. This is a clear warning that the Trinidadian economy may be on the verge of collapsing. A few years ago, TT $1 was equivalent to Guyanese $30, but now TT $1 is worth only Guyanese $19. Furthermore, TNT's currency is losing value every 2 weeks. Also, any intelligent Trinidadian should question where, can even spell, he spells where WERE, were. Most of its forex is being smuggled too. The whispers is that large sums of USD is being smuggled from Trinidad to Venezuela to the Venezuelan government for a dragon that will soon die when President Donald J. Trump is sworn in. My Trinidadian brothers and sisters needs to hold their, and he spells their THERE, PNM government accountable. So clearly he is no supporter of the PNM. We know where his allegiance apparently lies, and he seems to be taking great interest in what's happening in Trinidad. But your credibility, sir, is shot because first he's saying he has a credit card limit of US $250,000 in Ghana. Really? Really? US 250,000. When I check and I see Ghana's foreign reserves right now is less than 1 billion US. With all the oil that is selling 600 and something thousand barrels of oil per day, their foreign reserve currently stands at about 980 million US dollars, right? And the Guyanese government have been making several withdrawals from their equivalent of the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. They don't call it the NHSF over there, but they've made about 3 or 4 withdrawals for the year, um, significantly more than the government of Trinidad and Tobago has withdrawn. And yet still, they are producing 600 and about 50,000 barrels of oil per day. Speaks volumes, eh? Um, Our foreign reserves, the official figure stands at about 5.6 billion US, as opposed to Ghana, 980 million US. Right? So we are our foreign reserves is more than 5 times that of Ghana. So I find it hard to believe this individual when he says that his credit card limit is US $250,000. But further to that, I give him the benefit of the doubt. He says a few years ago, TT $1 was equivalent to Guyanese $30, but now it's TT $1 is worth only Guyanese 19. And I said, well, that ain't sounding right. Let me go and check. So I pulled up one of those currency converters on Google, and sure enough, one TT dollar is worth $30.32 Guyanese dollars. So I don't know where this liar got his information from, but if you would lie about something that can be so easily debunked, then it tells me your claim that you have a credit card limit of 250,000 is absolute rubbish. Garbage. Right? Makes no sense to me. Because if you have a Guyanese credit card with 250,000 US dollar limit, and just the other day, Guyanese businessmen were struggling to get foreign exchange. There was a foreign exchange shortage in Ghana, right? Significant foreign exchange shortage. Businessmen were complaining in Ghana that they're having problems getting foreign exchange to bring in their goods to pay their suppliers and all of that. Having to wait long lines, queues, 2 and 3 weeks, they waited. But he come into boast. And so my friend sends me this, right? It goes on to say any intelligent Trinidadian should quit, right? He says Trinidad is on the verge of bankruptcy, with foreign investors leaving in large numbers. The Trinidad government made significant mistakes by closing down the Petrotrin oil refinery. There isn't enough revenue coming into Trinidad and Tobago to repay its national and foreign debts. And so my friend sent this to me, and is saying, you must be the only clown to see Trinidad and USA is in a mess and continue to back the current regime. And all I needed to do was to shoot him down. I screenshotted the converter, right? And as my response to him is that when you could post propaganda BS without fact checking, who is the real clown? Right? And he had no choice but to concede, sends me a voice note and say, yeah, boy, you catch me there, boy, you're real good. The next thing for me to do is to block him, right? But you see, it's simple things like that. So he has the title Honorable William Lockhart, and he is verified with the blue tick. So people are giving credence to the things that he is saying, and kick out the PNM posted that. And I'm sure that's where my friend got this nonsense from to send it for me. But you have people who believe in that stupidness because they're too damn intellectually lazy to just go on Google, pull up the first thing when I saw that, pull up the currency converter, and you get the answer right there. But they're sharing this with gay abandon all over the place. And you have people doing TikTok video and talking about this. So you see, we try this government and the PNM, you see, it needs to be laughing at Ghana and this and that, but watch now how much Trinidad money and with nothing every 2 weeks, the Trinidad dollar devalue. Where he get that information from? Where did he get that information from? The last I checked, there has been no devaluation of the TT dollar. In fact, Minister Imbert would have put out a post a couple of days ago on his Twitter account indicating that the government is not inclined towards devaluing the TT dollar. And there are those who feel that Minister Imbert needs to let go of that position and allow the TT dollar to slide without giving due consideration to the impact that it is going to have on the cost of living. Because if we complain now that we have a food import bill of $7.3 billion based on the current exchange rate, what do you think it's going to go to if it is that we have a devaluation of the TT dollar? But you have simpletons all over this country advocating that nonsense. Some of them have absolutely no use for foreign exchange. They have no use for US dollars. They go nowhere, probably have never even left the country. All of their purchases are in TT dollars. They don't have a credit card. But they have the most to say about the foreign exchange situation. As citizens, okay, have a right to. But you're complaining, oh, you can't even get, you see, you can't even get $200 in the bank when you want to travel. You're all traveling anyway. Do you have anywhere to go? Why are you griping about you can't get $200 in the bank? But yeah, they have to devalue the dollar, but without understanding. So it's just like in the US with Donald Trump and his tariffs. And all who went and voted last week, Tuesday, yeah, she's going to fix the economy. Half of them don't even know what a tariff is and the impact that the tariff will have. And as I've had to explain to so many persons, as I had to do last week on, on Saturday, on the barbershop. People don't understand what a tariff is, right? It is a tax, basically a penalty on foreign goods coming into your country to make the goods produced within your borders in your country cheaper. It's supposed to motivate citizens to buy local because the foreign goods are supposed to be more expensive. And when you tack on tariffs, it can lead to a trade war. And as I had to point out to the gentleman on Saturday, China has a population of about 1.4 billion people. The US has a population of 335 million, right? So it means China's population is more than 4 times that of the United States. So the buying power of China is greater than the US. You have far more citizens with buying power. And if Trump wants to play that game with Xi Jinping could play it too. Because, okay, you want to impose tariffs on Chinese goods coming into your country and you are impacting sales of Chinese goods in the US. Well, two could play that game. We will also impose tariffs on US goods coming into China. But we will hit you where it hurts. The goods that matters most, which is the agricultural products coming from the very red states that support the Republicans and support Mr. Trump. So that when your potatoes are coming into China and your pork is coming into China and other products like that is coming into China, we will impose tariffs too. And we will hit you where it hurts. Your supporters, some of your main supporters will feel it, right? India has a population of about 1.4 billion people as well. And now we see relations between India and China appear to be thawing. So this territorial, this border dispute that they've been having for the longest while, we've seen recent overtures between Mr. Xi Jinping and Narendra Modi to kind of iron that out because China recognizes, hey, there's a market there. And if it is the US want to play the fool, we will just look elsewhere. And with this Belt and Road initiative that they have had where China is spreading its wings and tentacles across the globe, they're going all over the place offering money. They've gone to the African continent. They realize Africa has a huge population as well. And so they're providing funding to African nations, African leaders, right? So that they could get a foothold in the African continent too. So any fallout that they suffer with respect to any trade war that Mr. Trump wishes to engage in, they will simply shift their focus elsewhere. And any clients or customers they lose in the US, they will pick it up in India, they'll pick it up in the Caribbean, they will pick it up in Africa, and everywhere else that they operating. Look at the BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, that whole economic bloc that is now developing, where they're looking to see how, as best as possible, if it is that they could drop the US dollar altogether, so that they are not dependent on that particular currency. Who stands to lose? So that if Mr. Trump thinks he's going to come into office with his big stick policy, right, and use sanctions and all of that, the time for sanctions have long come and go. It does not work. We see it in Cuba. Cuba has been able to withstand these sanctions for the longest. I mean, it has affected the quality of life that the citizens have enjoyed. But by the same token, the fact that it's still, after all these years, the Bay of Pigs back in 1959 come forward, and still they continue to try and resist the US. It's as it has not worked. And the people who are supposed to benefit, that these sanctions are supposed to get rid of the regime in power, so that the lives of the citizens could be improved. The only people who end up suffering are the very same citizens. And the fact that after all these decades, they still have not realized that. Look at in Venezuela, sanctions have not been able to bring about regime change. Mr. Maduro is still there. I read an article a couple of days ago where he was interviewed for his position on Trump's win, and he says he expects nothing from Donald Trump. In his view, his country, the people continue to, well, according to Mr. Maduro, they are right, and they will continue to be so. And so he is not fazed by whoever is sitting in the Oval Office. He will continue to operate as he is. And I mean, when you think about it, you had in the United States of America claims that the last election was stolen, 2020, right? They steal the election, and there was cheating and whatnot and stuff. But there wasn't any sanctions or whatever. But look at the difference. You accuse Venezuela of the same thing, cheating, and the election was rigged and all of that. And as a result of that, they want to impose sanctions on the current leader. But the same accusation was made in the US, and there was no penalty. Right? That's what they say. So you elected a convicted felon, and a man who has other cases before the courts, which of course will be thrown out when his Justice Department comes in. And yet still you think that gives you the moral authority to be able to dictate what happens in Venezuela and other countries, right? Whose leaders in some of these countries, whose leaders are not don't have the same issues as the incoming US president. Talk about hypocrisy. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm gonna play this. Where is it?
Guys, I am in Italy right now. So recently the minister.
Oh, again, the title of this video is Debunking PNM Lies. Interesting. And then it goes on, PNM lies again, right? And listen to what this individual considers to be lies. And I play it because he has a fairly large following. I've seen quite a few of his videos in the past, and he speaks about a number of things. There was a time when he appeared to be a little more balanced, and I don't know what happened. And now he seems to have gone completely topsy-turvy. Right? So it's a lot of videos lashing the PNM this, the PNM that. Anyway, listen to it.
Tourism would have put out a post basically saying that Trinidadians, if they were to travel and get to experience other places, they would see how good they have the Trinidad and Tobago. And when he said it, I was looking at him and I was saying, you ought to be out of your goddamn mind. Because the amount of people who are actually fleeing Trinidad and Tobago for better opportunities and showing us how much better those opportunities are. Big up Karen Rose, who's out of here right now, living the best life in Thailand. You could tell that we live in an real dust ball here. But again, this is the mentality of the PNM because the PNM is convinced because they enjoy first world lives and first world standards that we should be always forced to live third world standards, and they intend to keep us there. So I happened to be scrolling on Facebook where I saw a young lady who happened to be on a trip in another nation, and she did a video showing the food prices of the nation. And I sat down and I was like, this is a really nice video that I could edit a little bit for PNM sycophants, because PNM sycophants, they believe everything that the master say. Once master say they living good and eating good, right? It ain't no way master could lie. So through the power of editing and a good old currency converter, let's take a look at the young lady's video and let's break it down for you all to enjoy. And if you all like it, share it, because PNM don't like when you share the truth.
Hi guys, I am in Italy right now, Florence, Italy to be exact, and I am in a supermarket. So I just wanted to show you guys what people pay for food prices out there on this side of the world. So for example, like a loaf of bread, someone will pay €1.30 for a loaf of bread in Florence, Italy. For example, pasta, a pack of pasta is 85 cents euros, and pasta is quite a popular product in Italy. Sausage here in Italy, you pay €2.61 for this size sausage. A whole chicken in this packet, you'll pay €2.80 for this. So a 1 liter box of milk, you're gonna pay €1.24 euros. Box of cornflakes is €3.96 euros, and this is for the big box. So a box of Lipton, you'll pay $3.11 in euro dollars. Right, so 1 liter of olive oil, this is a good brand, you'll pay like $11.99 euros. So the universal drink Coca-Cola, you'd pay for a 1.5 liter of Coke, you'll pay $2.24.
I wonder what the Minister of Tourism would have to say about that video. I wonder if he'll say that she lying. Hmm. I wonder. Make a better version of yourself, Trinidad and Tobago, and have a blessed day.
If that isn't the most juvenile, asinine video I've ever seen. I mean, to use the word simpleton would be an understatement, right? First of all, the minister say every that Trinidad and Tobago is better than everywhere else. No, he didn't, right? He said hop on a plane, travel, and see. Well, in some places, it's much Trinidad and Tobago is much better because I'm certain if somebody came now and offered Mr. Opinion Box a plane ticket to Ukraine, he wouldn't go. If somebody came and offered him a plane ticket to Palestine, he wouldn't go. If somebody came and offered him a plane ticket to Lebanon, probably wouldn't go either, right? So is he of the view that these places are better? But you went according to Sparrow, askance, askew, all the way to Europe, right? You don't need to go that far to make a comparison. What you have to say about the minister is out of his mind and whatnot and stuff, and how many people leave in Trinidad and Tobago to go to greener pastures, and he big up Karen Rose. That's a poor example to use, right? But anyway, there was something that I screenshot that I wanted to just touch on here. Let me just get it here. So, right. So I came across on Threads, which is the Facebook version of Twitter, a gentleman by the name of Cello Abbey. Right? So apparently he's a traveler. He goes all over the world doing videos and stuff. And he posted this on Threads. Right? So he's an international traveler. I think he's from the US or something. Stoked to be going back to Trinidad and Tobago next week to create a new travel series. Can't wait to review all the delicious cuisine and showcase my experience through what many consider to be a place you shouldn't be traveling to at the moment due to a rise in the crime rate. If you know anything about me, you know I go to places and find that out for myself. So he isn't taking anybody's word for it. He said, "Well, don't go Trinidad, you go dead." Make sure if you go to Trinidad, you put on your bulletproof vest and your helmet and you get security and all of this kind of thing. You have Trinis, like Mr. Opinion Box. Talking that talk. Meanwhile, you have an international traveler is telling you he is stoked to be going back to Trinidad and Tobago. So he's been here before, right? He could have gone, he's traveled to many different countries. He could have gone to any one of those countries to create his new travel series. And where did he decide to go first? Trinidad and Tobago, where he's been before. He has sampled the delicious cuisine and he wants to showcase his experience. So while it is that you have persons who don't live here are posting things, and when I screenshot when I got this, which was about 2 or 3 days ago, at that point in time, he had about 111 likes at that point already. Right? I'm sure it's probably grown by now after the post has had time to marinate. But he is not from here. And he is going on an international platform talking about how excited he is to go back to Trinidad. It's not a first time for him. He is not fazed by the crime rate, or should I say the murder rate, right? But this is what we need. The people who here are talking the country, and you have people outside who sell in the country first. Say, hey, can't wait to go back. And when he does his travel series and so on and highlights the cuisine, I know one thing, when he's finished and it is published and you see it showing up on whatever social media platform, the same people who always bad talking Trinidad, you see them in the comments, hey, thank you for visiting my country. Hey, big up Trinidadian here. They want to be posting Trinidad flags. So proud of my country. So proud to be Trini. Glad that that you enjoyed the cuisine. The same blasted hypocrites who always bad talking the country, right? When they see his video, that is them. Go in the comments and you will see they're so proud to be Trini. You're proud to be Trini, but yet still you ain't doing what he doing. You're doing what he's doing. Of course, you will have the one or two nastiness who will go in the comment section and talk about he lucky make it out alive or some dotishness. So, but for the most part, that's the hypocrisy that you see. But I wonder if Mr. Opinion Box, because I too was scrolling through Facebook, right? And I too came across a young lady. I wonder if Mr. Opinion Box came across this one.
Your child cannot write CX. I will be good. Hey, you see this comment right here? What? If I have to start to compare, I will be going on and on. And some of the comments is just the confusion I can't take on, right? But this is so true. In Trinidad, CXC is free, Cape is free. They even have transportation to drop your children to school for free. The children get free box lunch. In the Caribbean, in St. Lucia, and other places I know, they don't have that. Do you know that when it's time for your child to sit CXC in St. Lucia, if you don't have the money to pay for the CXC subject, your child cannot write CXC. And this is so true. You have to provide breakfast, lunch for your children to go to school. But in Trinidad, the children receive free breakfast and free box lunch. And they also take advantage of that. That country, I tell you, is so blessed. And when Trinidadians start to travel and they realize how blessed they are, I think they will start to do better as a nation, right? Because in Trinidad, it's like it's no togetherness over there. But I could tell you one thing for sure, in St. Lucia, there is plenty togetherness, right? But Trinidad is the land of opportunities. My mommy and other people I know, you know what they call Trinidad? Little America. Because that Caribbean country is so advanced, it makes you feel like you actually live in America because of the advantages that country have, right? There is so many things to mention, but if I have to start making videos, I will be going on and on and on and on, right? The education system in Trinidad, I want to say big up to that government, right? Because there are so many opportunities for young people. If these young people go to school and don't become something in their life in Trinidad, that's what they choose, right? Because there are opportunities, there are things put in place for them to become somebody better, even for them to start a business. There are places they could go to learn trades and even get a loan to start a business. In Trinidad, I have so many grants. So many grants. Watch the HDC housing system. If something like that was in St. Lucia, oh God, people would love, 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 love things like that. Even the pension. Every citizen in Trinidad receives a pension. 65 years, the government literally pays them a pension so they can live comfortable. Do you know in St. Lucia there is none of that? That country is just so blessed, and it's high time Trinidadians get to realize how blessed they are.
I guess Mr. Opinion Box didn't see that. Hmm? He didn't come across that young lady. He came across the one who traveling was in Florence, Italy, and decided to go to a grocery of all places, which is what she does. I've seen some of her other videos. She will go to different every place that she travels to. She'll go to the grocery to show you the price of food items. But I just want to read something quickly from Mr. Opinion Box. So she's in Florence, Italy, right? It says here the average monthly salary in Florence, Italy, before taxes is between 2,500 euros and 3,333 euros. However, the average salary can vary depending on the source and calculation method. So the average monthly expenses for a single professional living in a one-bedroom apartment outside of Florence's city center is around 1,829 euros. It's outside the city center. So, city center will be a little more expensive, which includes rent. And this means that there is enough money left over for savings and other expenses. So if you're earning 3,333, so I'll go into the upper end. But let me even go a little higher, 3,660 euros per month, right? Half of that going into your rent, okay? And this is, so half of that goes to your rent. And then you're left with probably another $1,830, which would be for you to pay your utilities. If you do have a car, or even if you do have a car, you still have expenses. You have to pay for fuel, you have to pay insurance, right? If it is that you're traveling, you're taking the taxi or the train, or whatever it is, whatever is your form of transport, you have to pay for all of these things. And remember, over there is dollar for dollar. So it's, if you're earning 3,660 euros for the month, after you pay 18.30, half of your salary for rent. So she said the cornflakes is $3, well, three point something euros, right? So that's 3 point something euros you're minusing from the 1,800. And then the olive oil, which is 11 euros, right? 11 euros. You can purchase anyway. So you minus that from, and the bread and the whatnot and the stuff. So when you want to come with this simpleton explanation and trying to say, well, it's because the cost of food in some countries is cheaper. Take, for instance, the United States. You have the citizens of, a lot of people were saying the reason why they voted for Mr. Trump was because of the economy and the cost of living and inflation. And when they go to the grocery, eggs is more expensive today than it was 4 years ago, and a liter of milk is more expensive than it was a year, 4 years ago under Mr. Trump, and so on. And gas is more expensive. And they always quoting as the base year 2020. That in 2020, the gas price was this, and the gas price was that. Of course, in 2020, gas prices were low because it was COVID. You had a glut in the supply of fuel all over the world because borders were closed, so hardly any planes were in the sky. People were being told to stay home, right, to avoid the spread of COVID. So people were working from home, so you didn't have as many cars on the road. A lot of recreational facilities or recreational places were shut. Nightclubs were shut, bars were shut, all of these different, to avoid congregation of persons. So obviously the prices would have been lower in your base year of 2020. But coming to the whole issue of the US, you have a lot of people saying the cost of living in the US now is exorbitant, right? And they need Trump to come and fix it for them and take prices back to what it was between 2016 to 2020 when he was president. That is not going to happen, especially if he's touting tariffs of 100% and 200%. But the fact of the matter is, you have US citizens complaining about the cost of living in the US. But if a Trinidad and Tobago citizen goes to the United States, the very same prices that the US citizens complaining about and find too high, the Trinidadian will be boiling, oh, good. You didn't see how cheap that is? You didn't see how cheap that is? You see how much for that? And they would be marveling, and they think it's so cheap and it's so great. And your US citizen now might be standing next to you and say, but you crazy, that expensive. But you doing the conversion. And what is the TT equivalent of that? So when you go to Walmart and you see this huge turkey, right? Because Thanksgiving coming up, and this big turkey, bigger than what we see in Trinidad, and you look at the price and you see the price of it, and it might be about $20 something, right? Or so. And he's like, but wait now, in Trinidad, this would be, you know how much you have to pay for this in Trinidad? Or you see this big ham, and when you look at the price of it, huge ham. It's like, that's the right price? So you marveling, you know? Are you thinking the price so low? And the Americans now telling you, no, that is very expensive. It's a matter of perspective. But why do you want to focus and want to tell you people leaving Trinidad, going abroad to greener pastures? Nobody said Trinidad is a dust bowl or some kind of nonsense. So, but you have foreigners who come in here to live, right? People from Europe, the US, coming here to live. The dust bowl, the same dust bowl that he's talking about. Here it is that you have that young lady that I just played there, and this is just one of several videos that she has done comparing her home country of St. Lucia to Trinidad, and all the things that they don't have, that we have, that she wishes they had in her country. I mentioned to you before, I was on a Zoom call quite recently with some of my colleagues, with whom I sit on the board of a regional organization. And my colleague from St. Lucia, we were discussing, the issue about kidney disease and awareness and so on, and the healthcare system in the different Caribbean countries and what is available. And my colleague from St. Lucia, she was making the point. She said that in St. Lucia, when you go to the hospital, you have to pay an admission fee. First of all, before you even see the doctor, you have to pay an admission fee. And then when you get in to see the doctor, based on what treatment you receive, will then determine what your final bill is. I said, so wait, you all don't have free healthcare in St. Lucia? And she said, no, you have to pay. So Mr. Opinion Box didn't need to go askance and askew all the way up to Europe to do his comparison. He could have just gone right over the pond. Could have gone right across to Ghana, about an hour away, hour's flight away, where the 20-pound cylinder of LPG, cooking gas, that we pay $21 to $28 for. Right, $28 if you take it off of the truck, because you have to pay a delivery charge. But if you drop it in your trunk and you go to the gas station or the nearest mini mart, you might pay $21, $22 for it. TT. In Guyana, how much you're paying? It costs you about $162 TT for the same 20-pound cylinder of gas. He should do that type of comparison. Tell us, but Trinidad is a dust bowl. And things so bad here, and PNM sycophants, and if Massa tell PNM sycophants and that thing good and be eating good and whatnot, and all of that foolishness. Half the time when they're talking about Guyana, this and Guyana, that, when you go into the comments and you see posts of people who rating of Guyana, kick out the PNM love to do that. When you go into the comments, you have Guyanese who come in and tell me, hey, it ain't all that great here, you know. Don't know where they get that information from, but if all they figure everything is a bed of roses in Guyana because we find oil, think again. Why is it that the government had to offer $100,000? Well, they went from $200,000 per household and realized the bacchanal that would cost to $100,000 per citizen who is over the age of 18. If things are so great. You have lots of Guyanese complaining about the cost, simple things as eggs. How much they have to pay for one egg. How much they have to pay for things like tomatoes and so on. They have all the oil there. More than we could ever hope to have. Same thing in the US, as Trump has been saying and had been parroting for the last few months. The United States have more oil and more gas than everybody. The leading producer, oil and gas, right? But yet still their citizens don't benefit from subsidies. There's nothing subsidized. You go to the pump and you pay based on what is the prevailing price of oil on the day, you pay at the pump. That's why they're complaining. No subsidies, but in Trinidad, them. The oil and gas belong to the citizens, not to the government. Yeah, well, the members of the government are also citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. But it seems like some people forget that at times. So the subsidies is how we get back, how they give back to the citizens is we oil and we gas, are we supposed to benefit from that? So why it is they only want to be talking about the subsidy, and the subsidy is citizens? Okay, right. So you have subsidies. How come you don't see the citizens of the United States saying the same thing? The oil and gas coming from the ground, they are citizens of the country too. But you don't hear them say, we're supposed to get subsidies because the oil and gas belongs to us. Water subsidized here. Electricity subsidized here. Fuel subsidized. Right? That's why this cost of living isn't what It should be. So all who are advocating for devaluation of the TT dollar, and the TT dollar, it needs to reflect exactly the true value against the US. Why you all aren't saying that the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago should be truly reflective of what it should be? If the government were to remove all of these subsidies that some of you all don't even know, aren't aware of, you know what the cost of living would be? And the billions that are spent every year to maintain these subsidies impacts the government's ability to deliver on other things. So when we complain about the state of the road and the road bad, in the US, you're paying tolls to drive on the highway. Why? You see the US citizens complaining about that? Up in arms and picketing. You see them standing by around what are the toll gates and complaining that they have to be paying money to use public road. No, they don't. They have to make sure that they have their, let's call it, boy, the sun pass. You drive past, you go back, you pay your money. No complaint. Pay your money to drive on the road. Jamaica, toll road. Guyana, toll road. You feel Dr. Rowley and the PNM could say they put in any toll gates here? Man, is riot. They only want to take money and oppressing the poor and oppressing people and wicked. But these same people, Mr. Opinion Box, who talking here about how much people the minister out of his goddamn mind and how many people leave in Trinidad to go abroad for to greener pastures and for a better life. The same things that they will not tolerate here, the same things they will vote out a government for in Trinidad. They run into greener pastures to pay. They pay their property tax without complaint. They're paying the tolls without complaint. But in Trinidad here, if we put that to try and improve your situation, the same way the citizens of those countries are benefiting from the income that is generated from these things, they have no problem paying it over there. You hear them? Well, at least over there you don't see value for your money, you don't see where your taxes going, but Trinidad, you don't see it. Really? You don't see it. When you go to the hospital, and unlike in St. Lucia, you don't have to pay an admission fee. You could call an ambulance. An ambulance come and pick you up and take you to the hospital. It costs you nothing. You stay in the hospital a week, 2 weeks, you're getting 3 square meals a day. Don't mind you want to complain. They give you sardine and cricks. What kind of thing is that? You're paying $432 a year in health surcharge. What do you expect? Caviar? Steak? Filet mignon? That's what you expect to get? But if the government decides we're increasing, we're going to increase the health surcharge. Riot. All they're looking to do is to dig deeper into citizens' pockets, the oppressor. That is the complaint. But the things that we take for granted here, that you could lie down in the hospital bed and you're getting 3 square meals, all medication that you need, they provide in it there. And then when you're discharged, you're getting a prescription to go down to the dispensary and get it filled, free of charge. And if you have a chronic disease, you're going CDAP. You could go to private pharmacy, present your CDAP form, and get your CDAP prescription filled. No cost to you. You know, it's like paying tax, half all you pay. What tax all you pay? Thanks to this same administration for increasing your personal allowance 3 times, plenty all you paying not 1 cent in income tax. But want to tell me things was better under Kamla. Really? When you were paying $3,000 a year in income tax, which you're no longer paying? When you were paying $5,000 a year, $7,500 for the year in income tax that you're no longer paying, but you were better off under her? Really? Not once did she touch personal allowance in the 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days that she was there. But things was better. Under Keith Rowley, you have 5 more hospitals than you had under Pasadi Sessa between 2010 to 2015. But I have to listen to these 2 clowns. Well, I don't have to, but I just came across a video with these 2 clowns on 91.9 talking about this government spent 4 times more what the People's Partnership spent. I say, where do you all get this dotishness from? If the People's Partnership was spending an average of $62 to $65 billion a year for 5 years, this government has been in office for 9 years, and their budget has been averaging between 55 to 60, right? Even if you do the multiplication, it will never work out to 4 times more. But they have a platform to talk that stupidness, and they have a wide audience who lapping that up. Yeah, boy, you're Rowley and amazing. Look how much money they spend. And here this clown. But at least with Kamla Prasad Bisesa, 2010 to 2015 and the People Partnership, they spend money, but he was seeing what they're spending money on. But 9 years, all that money spent, and what they spent, where the money gone? We lives not better. The same people who complaining, they need to buy more beds for the hospital. Instead of spending money on, give only $50 million for entertainment. But they could have used that money to put more beds in the hospital. If a hospital was built to accommodate 300 beds, you could put 500 beds in a hospital that was built to accommodate 300. But all they're parroting the stupidness. They need to buy more bed and put more bed in the hospital. Put it where? In the car park? Under tents? Think. But they come in, bumping the gum all over the place and looking like fools, fully done. And studying, that ain't really making sense, because where they don't put the beds. So what the government do? All they want more beds? No problem. We will build more hospitals. So Kamala gave you all one hospital, Cuba Hospital. And for that, her supporters want to give her the best round of applause and the highest award the country has. Because she built one hospital. But Keith Rowley gave all you Grandy Hospital with state-of-the-art equipment. He gave you all Arima Hospital that Jack Warner has dubbed the best kept secret of the Ministry of Health. Now he's been to Arima. He hasn't been to Grandy, because I'm sure if he went to Grandy to get treatment, he would say the same blasted thing, that Grandy is also a best kept secret. Because even before the new Grandy Hospital was built, based on what I would have heard from persons who would have utilized the services there, that the old Grandy Hospital, that the service was good there too. I saw videos with persons who would have been in the old hospital, and a man doing a video showing the food. He was there for a while, and the meals that he gets, and he was so pleased, better than what he was getting when he was home. And they were able to incorporate the old facility with the new one. They just went into the second phase where they're providing even more services now, right? So all of the state-of-the-art equipment that you have there that you get to use for free, unlike what obtains in the United States, where you need to have health insurance or make sure your pocket deep, because from the time the ambulance pull up in front of your house, your medical, the bill start, you had to pay for that. And then when you reach in the hospital, whatever treatment it is that you get, you lie down in the bed, but your blood pressure high because you're studying. Every time you see the doctor coming out, oh, how much that will cost, boy? I wonder what that bill going to be, boy. How can you relax? You could do that in Trinidad here because you know it's costing you nothing. Every injection that you get, every tablet that they give you, every meal that you have costs you nothing. The only thing you're walking out of the hospital with is a prescription. You're not walking out with a bill that you have to sit down and scratch your head how this going and pay. Or wonder how much the insurance company paying, because I had to pay the co-insurance. So if the health insurance only paid 80%, I still had to find 20. I told her what an experience that my friend had, where she went to the US to do some cosmetic surgery, right? And there were complications as a result of that, and she ended up with blood clot in her lungs, and found herself, she home recuperating well where she was staying, developed breathing problems. They rushed her to the hospital, and she ended up in ICU because they had to do an emergency thrombectomy, where they had to run a line through her groin into her lungs to be able to extract the blood clots. She almost died, right? She spent just over a week in ICU in the hospital there. They asked her if she has health insurance back in Trinidad. She gave them her health insurance card. And she's there and she worried, but what is bill going to be? Right? Came back home. 2 years later, she got the statement from her insurance company. The bill eventually came over $100,000 US. The TT equivalent was $773,000. Is what it cost the insurance company to settle that bill. And they had to find the US dollars to pay it. Because it ain't free. Now in here, a US citizen could come here, they have an emergency, take them to the hospital, they get treatment. The fella who got the shark bite in Tobago, I saw a picture. He was standing, who it was with, right, the minister of they went to the World Travel magazine thing in the UK last week or whenever it is there. And well, he's on the mend now, he's good. He and his wife took a picture with the Minister of Tourism. Did it cost him anything? No. He got excellent treatment in Tobago. They transported him to Trinidad. He got further treatment, and then he was transported back home to the UK, and now he's good. And it cost him nothing in Trinidad. I don't know if it cost him anything in the UK. but it cost him nothing here. But Mr. Opinion Box want to come and tell you about Trinidad is a dust bowl, and Randall Bridger must be out of his goddamn mind. Hmm? Yeah, well, go over yonder now. Go over yonder and see. You don't need to go that far, sir. Just take a trip right in the Caribbean here and see. Why don't go across to Haiti? Yeah? Buy a house in Haiti now. Because apparently, based on your logic, Haiti better than here, right? How many of you all willing to go there? There are planes flying into Haiti and planes damaged because militants open fire on the plane. We don't have that here. All these airlines fly here, flying in easy and nice. Right? The things that you all complain about. The government is an oppressor, but don't want to understand. But as I keep saying, the next time you can't give your children, I think he has 2 sons or something, so going St. Mary's College, I believe. The next time you can't provide or give your sons what it is that they need, and they complain, they should call you an oppressor. Yeah, they should say you're an oppressor. Right? You're wicked because you're not giving them what it is that they want, despite the fact that you may be explaining to them, well, look, such and such is the situation. I don't have the money. I can't afford to give you all of this, right? So right now I could give you the basics. But when things improve, the other things that you want, I could deal with the ones when things improve. But for right now, I could only deal with the needs. And there's plenty of them who always criticizing the government. I know this government and people can't get this and can't get that. The government has to work within its means. They could focus on giving you all wants and abandon the needs, We see in roads being paved. They're quick to highlight when the road bad. But when the same road fix, the same people who went and take pictures and do videos, they think they're going back to say, hey, look, the road fix. Kudos to the government. No, you know what they will do? If 2 weeks after the road fix, they see a crack, a hairline fracture, they come in to take a picture of that and a video and see what. They just paved the road and look how the road falling apart already. But when it's falling apart and it's working good, they will never go back and say, yes, good work, good job, Ministry of Works and Transport. They're doing that. Highlight the bad, but when the good, when it fixed, we ain't talking about that. Cut Omera Road for years upon years. Omera Road was just that one road, right? Separated by one road. The only separation is the white line. Look at the significant work that is now taking place on Omera Road, where you will have 2 separate lanes, right? Double carriage lanes. Huge works taking place there, which would alleviate the traffic that we get by the lights. And hopefully they fix that light because those lights just change too quick. But anyway, the work taking place there, that is the kind of development. But if you will go and run a video, take pictures and post that up on social media and say, good work, Ministry of Works and Transport, they're not doing that. Right? Omera Road used to be unsightly with all of these utility poles and these low-hanging wires. All that is now gone. From the Churchill Roosevelt Highway all the way down to the dual carriageway by Extra Foods Plaza there, all that gone. Place looking nice now. Can't wait the big roundabout that they put in. Can't wait to see when that finished and how good Omera Road is going to look. But we're not talking about that. The Blanchishes Road that at one time, I don't even could have called that a road. But when it was paved, I saw somebody post up a picture. And if you see in the comments, that is Trinidad? Nah, that can't be Trinidad. That's Photoshop. That's AI. No kudos for that. No kudos for that, but they like to call it sycophants. When it is those of us who choose to highlight the good, we are sycophants. Massa tell we to say that. And if Massa say we eating good, yeah, well, I just want to let them know. If all is suffering, not everybody suffering like Collier. If you all don't want to take advantage of the opportunities and sit down whole day on social media and gripe and complain about how things bad and people suffering and the government wicked, and they want to increase the price of this and increase the price of that, but you wouldn't look at the things that you benefiting from, thanks to the state. You hear what the young lady said? You get pension, right? You have some people never work a day in their life, and when they reach 65, they could go and apply and get a pension. Of course, it's means tested. But if they have no other source of income, what the government will do? Blanket? That they don't have that in St. Lucia, according to her. Right? So she is doing a comparative. She could have done a comparison with any other country. She could have done it with Jamaica. She could have done it with St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada. But she highlighted Trinidad and Tobago. When it is where is he from? Ghana or Nigeria? Wodemaya is his name. The African guy who goes all over the world, highlighting his experiences and whatnot. When he came here, the first place he went was the waterfront to highlight the tall buildings. And when you read the comments, people from all over the world were saying they never knew Trinidad was so nice and so developed. Who did that? Just now. Let me get something else again. Just give me 1 sec here, folks. Where did I see that? Wait, was that on Kikodi PNM's page or was it? Let's know. Let me see. Just to retouch this here, right? So and Trinidad, but it's a lady economy in a mess and in a shambles and you're talking nonsense too. Ansamakal profits rise by 21%. The Ansamakal group yesterday declared profit before tax of 568.11 million for the 9 months ended September 30th, 2024, which is 21% more than the 468.26 million the company reported for the same period in 2023. As I keep saying, all who want to be griping about the 1% and the 1%, and yeah, I'm sure when I go in the comments, you will see about the rich getting richer and let me see. Same thing, Imran Ali, rich getting richer. Another one, after you monopolize the whole country through Rowley and Imsburg, decimating other local businesses and services, what do you expect? Another one, good job answer, keep the tribe fighting while you make millions. Another one says 1% media reporting, 1% news. You see the problem with this country? Instead of they coming on social media to gripe, go and buy Ansamakal shares. Open a brokerage account and go and buy some Ansamakal shares so that you could share in this profit. So when they make the final declaration in 3 months' time, and you hear what the final profit is, and they declare profits attributable to shareholders after they take their retained earnings and so on, you could share in it. You could get a dividend check coming into your bank account or in your mailbox. Instead of you sit down griping about the 1% and the 1%, and it's only the 1% profit and only the 1% it's that who prospering. Why is that? You feel when you go the stock, go to a brokerage house, they tell you now you can't buy Ansamakal shares because you're poor, or you can't buy Ansamakal shares because you have African descent or you have East Indian descent? No, bring your money and come. Instead of taking loans, Carnival coming up, taking loans to go and spend tens of thousands of dollars to buy costume and go to every single all-inclusive fete that it have, right? Because now nobody could fet like you. Instead of wasting money, going and take loans for that. And then when you pay back the loan, you have nothing to show. Take it and go and buy some shares in Ansamakal in Prestige Holdings. Do that. But you only come in on social media to complain and gripe every time you see reports like this. Whose fault is that? 10 years now you're griping, your financial circumstance hasn't improved. But Ansamakal's financial circumstance has improved. And everybody who has purchased shares in the last 5 years, 10 years, last year, last 6 months, their circumstance will improve. Because you know what? They have dividend checks coming every 6 months. What you have? Nothing. Screenshot of a post that you put up complaining about the 1%. Oh, think hard and think hard. Yeah. Christmas coming. Who going and take loan to paint house and buy furniture, new stove and new fridge. Yeah, the place that will look nice. Because when people come, yeah, putting aside that money. The alcohol cabinet must be top up. Only the best. Johnny Walker Green, Johnny Walker Blue. It's only the best people drinking when they come by my house, and you're happy to boast. You have the best alcohol. Right? And meanwhile, the people coming by you, they just have the average alcohol when they go by them. Like, well, we don't drink alcohol here, but we have some sparkling wine. But you know what? Their money ain't going on alcohol like you. They only watching their bank account. Hey, let me see when that dividend check come in, boy. Let me go and check and see what my balance is today. Let me see what's the stock price. Yes, it's gone up, boy. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're happy to look at empty bottles. Empty bottles after Christmas when they come and drink out your sours. Right. And they go back home, they're happy. Their bank account nice, but you was balling and you had to find the money to pay the loan. Let's see if I find this other one here. All right. Let's know. I'll play that in another time. Somebody sent me this. Is it the same person? And let me say thank you to all the people who send me attachments on Messenger. I don't always get it because I'm not on Messenger often. So sometimes when a message comes in, if I happen to be on my phone and I see it coming in, and I go on Messenger and I see this whole long list of messages that people would have sent me with attachments, and so it's when I get the chance to go through. And some of you already sent me some really handy material, so I thank you for that. Right? Where is it? Who was this person that sent me this? Yes. I'll just read this for you all and then I'll open the line because it's almost 8 o'clock, right? So we would have dealt with Ralph Maraj the other day, and the other clown who is always criticizing Dr. Rowley, Selwyn Koju. The less said about Mr. Koju, the better, right? But let me just read this. Someone sent in a letter to 868 Wired. Here's what it says. Dear editor, Dr. Kojo was unfair to Prime Minister regarding gender response, right? And this is the post that Dr. Oli would have put out on his Facebook page while he was in Samoa, where he was commenting on the picture with Mr. Jindal presenting an award to Baroness Scotland, the Commonwealth Secretary General. And he was basically saying, look how the Commonwealth has embraced the executive of the Commonwealth has embraced Mr. Jindal and his family, but yet still in Trinidad you have a bunch of unpatriotic louts who ran the man out of the country because of foolishness, right? Because we have charges and whatnot, and they don't want it. But yet still sitting to the right of the wannabe prime minister is a man on $1 million bail for fraud and misbehavior in public office. And the author of this article is just let me see. The following letter to the editor was sent to Wire 868 by Ms. Josanne Bihari from Arima in response to a column by Dr. Selwyn Kojo on the perceived behavior of the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley. So, remember I told you last week, all of them, like they get the memo. This week's agenda is Attack Rowley. So you had Rat Maraj and not to be left out, Selwyn Kojo. But this is a response to Mr. Kojo. It seems to me that every time the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago speaks, Express columnist Dr. Selwyn Kojo reacts as if he got stung by an army of ants in one of the most vulnerable parts of his body. I wonder where that is. He yelps in agonized hostility against Dr. Keith Rowley. And it is quite staggering and eye-opening to see the effect that Dr. Rowley stirs up in Dr. Kojo and to witness his almost weekly tirades, which have become quite boringly predictable and irksome. Case in point, his column last Sunday, 2nd November, headlined The Ultimate Barbarian, in which he called the Prime Minister an unsophisticated bully. All right, let me get this. Yeah. And the most obnoxious leader we have had in our 62 years of independent rule. He referred to the Prime Minister as incivil and went on to borrow the former Prime Minister Patrick Manning's overused, raging bull description about Dr. Rowley. Last Sunday, he unleashed his own brand of sophisticated bullying against Dr. Rowley, whose cardinal sin was referring to his critics in the opposition UNC as unpatriotic louts. The dictionary meaning of louts is uncouth, rude, stupid, awkward. Are these words any better than those used by Dr. Kojo? Unsophisticated bully, incivility, base, and the worst of them all, a total barbarian, as the headline stated. Dr. Kojo's attacks on Dr. Rowley seems to be following the same trajectory of rape allegations made against him, Dr. Rowley, and his father by the opposition, and which today are still recorded in the Hansard of the Parliament. It also follows the trajectory of insults against Dr. Rowley's blackness and the UNC's Hide Your Children from Rowley campaign in the lead up to the 2015 general election, when the opposition sought to demonize the PNM political leader as a predator who was coming for their children. Dr. Kojo's obsession with the PNM leader seems to have completely obfuscated his ability to be balanced and fair in his writing. In fact, while he labels the Prime Minister as this uncouth barbarian, he himself uses his intellectualism as a political cutlass against the PNM, and Dr. Rowley. He never once engaged the point that Dr. Rowley was making when he referred to the opposition as unpatriotic louts in relation to their discourteous treatment of Indian billionaire businessman Mr. Naveen Jindal, who visited the Prime Minister in June of 2024 and who was interested in the Petrotrin refinery. And Mr. Jindal who was demonized in the Trinidad Parliament and by the UNC, was featuring prominently at the Commonwealth Health of Government, where no lesser person than the Commonwealth Secretary General featured him in her report, which was prepared for 56 heads of the Commonwealth. Dr. Rowley's point was simply that while Mr. Jindal and his company were good enough to do business with all the Commonwealth, the opposition leader in the UNC felt he should be chased and banished from Trinidad and Tobago and not even allowed to bid for the refinery. Dr. Kojo refused to comment on the salient point of the PM's commentary. What a tragedy to see how this scholarly globetrotter has allowed himself and his pen to be used to denigrate rather than uplift not just the Prime Minister, but a party that he claims to love and a country which has birthed him. Couldn't have said it better myself, right? And that encapsulates that ridiculous article that Mr. Kojo would have written. And I even call him a doctor. Kojo would have written. And every week, it's like, I don't know if it is he and Ralph Mirage competing to see who could cuss out Dr. Rowley the worst, and who could say the worst of things between themselves about Dr. Rowley. So it seems to be a stiff competition, right? But he just constant with it every week. Ralph will still take a break now and again to talk about what's happening in the US and talk about what's happening in Europe. But Kojo, no, sir. It's every week. Jam Rowley. Jam Rowley. But we expect to hear nothing from him about Princess Prasad Bisasa, because let's not forget, he appeared on one of her platforms when they were having their crime talks. Yeah, she gave him an opportunity and a platform to spew his venom further. But he loved PNM, just like this one, Wall Street. Right? Wall Street. Heard him yesterday on Pastor Google's program talking about the forex situation. He has a comment for every single thing that is going on in this country with respect to governance. But meanwhile, in his own country, ask him who he voted for. The country where he has paid taxes all his life, never paid 1 cent of tax in Trinidad. Talk about the US. You know everything that's wrong with Trinidad and wrong with governance in Trinidad. Talk about the US, where you've spent the majority of your life. All of your adult life was spent in the US. You've contributed nothing to Trinidad and Tobago, and you're vexed with Dr. Rowley because you wanted a building that he refused to give you. Because you invited him, you pick him up in a Mercedes Benz when he visited New York, and you invited him to your home, where according to you, you gave him the best food and the best drink, and you brought out your best cutlery. Yeah? Best cutlery, best knife and fork. And you gave him the best alcohol to drink. And all you wanted was to get that building, to put up the Wall Street to Lavantil Foundation so you could big up yourself and put your name on it. And because the Prime Minister blanked you, which obviously he couldn't give to you, because then he would be the subject of an integrity in public life investigation. Did the Prime Minister give this building to this person because he was feted by this person when he went to New York? I think Wall Street claims well, should I say responsibility, by? He claims that he was the one who was able to arrange for Dr. Rowley to ring the bell. Remember when Dr. Rowley went to New York and he got the starting bell for the stock exchange and all of that? That he had a hand to play in that. Okay, so easy, because of his links on Wall Street. And so he figures that because of that Dr. Rowley should bow down to you and give you whatever you desire, your heart desires. Then for the opposition, UNC to come and say, well, hey, this man, when Rowley was in New York, he carried Rowley all around. He wrecked Mercedes Benz to drive around Rowley, and Rowley went by his house and he eat and drink and this and he do this and do that. And now Rowley give him this building. Next thing, investigation, misbehavior in public office. You feel Dr. Rowley in tongue too long, my friend. Can't catch you with that at all. Rock so with that shit with this. All of them suffering from didn't get. Right? Thought they would have gotten and didn't get. And now Dr. Rowley is the worst thing ever. 7701763. It is 8 o'clock on what has already started out to be a rainy day in parts of the country. Hold one sec there, gentlemen. Just make this switch here. Turn this off. So, Jenny, one sec. What's going on with this thing this morning, boy? Okay, not sure to it there. Jenny.
Yeah, I'm on it. I'm like,
Morning, morning.
morning to all those up to you to facts and stubborn things. I've made an observation, and there's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The people who always come out and speak ill about the PNM, and the first thing they talk about the PNM wicked and the bad and Dr. the wicked and bad, is usually people who have issues with themselves and they don't want to take responsibility for where they are in life. Because all of us just go through some kind of thing in this country. But our first response doesn't be government wicked and bad or doctorally wicked and bad. We may say things are hard, but then we look at things objectively and realize, you know what, it could have been worse. But those who continue down the path to blame Dr. and the PNM is who have the issues and refuse to take responsibilities for it. That is my opinion. And as for the org in the box, just recently he was in a whole Facebook cuss out, fight out, or what. It may not be obscene language, but with Philip Alexander and some bacchanal with some money and who gave for and all that. So they just choose the fight based on where they are at the point in time. So he had a lot of issues with Philip Alexander because he used to be a part of the PPP or whatever the case it is.
Oh.
So now it seems that he has time now to do what he's doing, because again, as you so rightly said, because when I went to New York, one and the only time, I went to buy cornflakes at our custom buying here. Because my cousin and me, I had to find something to eat, so I went to buy cornflakes on them. And when I saw the price and I did the conversion, I was like, this is much different than in Trinidad. So even if I spend enough 5 US, and that was back that time, because I'm spending in US, it looking like nice, but when I do the conversion, because I had to convert my TT dollars to US dollars. So when I was buying anything, I was automatically doing conversion and buying beside it stay home, but I could get my thing the same price really. But if you're out there working, and you're Trinidadian and you're out there working, and just for a while, and you don't have to pay rent, and you don't have to pay XYZ or whatever it is, it will look as if it's cheap. But really, actually, when you do conversion, it's no damn cheap enough. But they don't want to tell people that. They just see the price and say, oh my goodness, $2 US, and down here is 30 TT. And oh my God, it's for. I'm not understanding that is not how it is in black and white. Anywho's, Selwyn Kojo, to me, he has lost all his manhood. When he sat down and allowed Satnaraj seat to insult he on TV and couldn't say nothing in response. And I went to the man's funeral and say the man is like a Martin Luther King. That tells me he will grovel for scrums or whatever they throw on the ground for him. So I dismiss him. It's unfortunate that he's an intellectual, an African intellectual, and that. So I just blank them out. I call this Selwyn Kojo, he's a waste of time. I want to hear nothing he has to say. And then worse yet, he's a man who's in Africana studies and black studies and going on like that. He's a realist. And to people who keep saying, I've seen somebody writing on Facebook about the social media of the PNL, let's stop talking that talk now. Because what they're doing when they keep saying that is like all they're just missing the work that all of us doing on social media. So stop thinking about the PNM social media officer. All of we out here is the PNM social media officer unofficially. When Dominic say what he has to say, all I believe in, let's spread the word, share the life, share the information. That is how it will get done. When Juliette Davy, Charles Felix, and all the others who do it, keep sharing it, be informed, so when you're talking to other people, you could inform them. But the continuous talking about the PNM social media officer who does nothing, that carries nowhere. And it appears to me when you say that, that's my opinion, as if you're not taking the value of what is being done by us and so many others and not sharing it. So please stop telling us what the social media officer for the PNF. Yeah, we are the social media officers. Unofficially, we took up the charge and we have been doing what we have to do and will continue to do it. And we need all the help to keep sharing the information. That's how it will be done, the old-fashioned brick by brick. And Dominic, again, I want to thank you for the work that you do. I want to thank all those on social media who always there that when people put up the misinformation, because of what they learned from us, they corrected them one time, they checking them one time. We ain't taking no foolishness. This is not the time at when them go low, we go no high. We're not going to disrespect them. We're going to put the information there. But if they disrespect we, they will get disrespected back. That is my stance. And who don't like it, well, they'll have to bite it. I am no longer standing up and figuratively turning my cheek for the next slap. I ain't doing that. I answer not to suit. I'm not advocating no violence. I'm talking about words. I'm going to answer back to suit. And you disrespect me, I'll disrespect you back. And I'm giving you the information when they come with the disinformation. And people will know, you see 91.9, this is my opinion, is run like a parlor. The only thing of substance they have is Sean Phillips, Bruce Wayne, and Google. After that, it's parlor business and rum shop business. You can't learn nothing there. If you hate yourself, you hate your life, then you will like what you just gone easily. Because then don't make no sense of nothing. I feel that the normal schools they went wasn't prepared for them. They needed to go special ed. And even children who are in the special ed schools, brighter than them. Because I've been amongst them and they'll never talk the foolishness them does talk. But they have allowed whatever manhood them have and whatever pride they have, they too come like selling Kojo. They will eat on the ground and lick up on the ground when they throw for them. And then turn around and say, but we is the one who bad and we is the one that. But it's the self and the life that they're not happy with. And because they don't want to take responsibility for where they are in life, they put it only blame on our government or anybody who they feel supporting the government. Because they find, because things are a little hard, we should cost the government. And we should look to find our own solutions for what the issues are going through. Yes, the government has a role to play. But what is your role to play? Right now in Bahamas, the crime, not because of the crime situation, it is escalating. And there across there, the law is saying across there, it's not only the law or the government to help, citizens have to help too. There's a travel advisory out on Bahamas. People fearful of going Bahamas. But you won't hear that kind of talk. And crime is escalating. I watched the video and I say, wait, no, this is Trinidad. Some gunmen jump out a car and go in a place, fire shot, you see bacchanal. So when they're talking about Trinidad, as if Trinidad is the issue. All over the Caribbean and all over the world have their share an issue with crime because human beings at the end of the day. And I want to thank the Honorable Transformational Leader, Dr. T. Christopher Rowley, and all his cabinet ministers and them for staying this country on a right path since coming in 2015, meeting a recession, meeting oil prices low, coming on the COVID-19, and we have never had to go to the IMF. And finally, with the Auditor General, if you will read the audit report from the former Auditor General under Kamapasa Bisasa Sharon Otley, or you will bawl and realize and come to the opinion that Jaiwanti Ramdas, again you'll come to opinion, that she seemed to be a political mole and she seemed to have an agenda because the only thing she's speaking about, and she never said thief, they speak about discrepancy, they think about error, is a $2.6 billion revenue that was not included in her report because of a checking system at the central bank. And when they rectified it, they find out where that error came from. Everybody else, all she officers who working under she, all other senior public officers agreed that there's an issue with the central bank for the checking, when they do the checking system. She's the only person refusing to admit that it was an error and they found the error. In other countries in the world, South Carolina, they had a $4 billion error that they found that was some new checking system that people didn't know to use. But when you look at Sean Otley's audit report, it speaks about billions of dollars being spent under the UNC government, TP government, with no documentation. So I had to say the thief it, because that was supported by what MSJ said that was a kleptocratic government. And I had to go with Jack Warner say that the whole of the UNC corrupt, inside and outside, every one of them corrupt. And he speak about the agencies that was corrupt, and he speak about the WASA. And when you look at Sean Otley's report, she speaks about the water, environment, resources. If you see money being spent with no documentation, billions of dollars, so Jaiwanti, Ramdas can haul, and all of them can haul for me, because Sean Otley audit report showed a government that was spending money without accounting for it, all ministries. And all Jaiwanti can come to tell you is about $2.6 billion error, and nothing else is in her report to show that the government has been spending money undocumented. I say that's money haul to all of them, yes. When them go low, I go in lower. All, because we know the truth and we go tell people the truth. Thank you, Dominic. Have a blessed one.
Thank you, Jen. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my darling. How are you?
I am good.
I'm not strong this morning. Amazing about the people who developed an technique. Everything is wrong. Then why are you still here? Pack it back and go. My son is Canada, okay? Gary, next year, her rent raised by $50 every January, okay? You can't pay gas late, you can't pay a light sweep or water leak, you get cut off. We pay our bills like we want to, it anyhow. We criticize, we complain all the time. Bless your land. You are happy and the English government is a little ill. They're not perfect, but they're human, but they are trying. We still have so much more than other nations. Guyana, they have to pay the oil company, they extract the oil, and we're being paid. We have so much more to be grateful for, and we do realize that. And you see it in solicitation. You have to create, you can't sit in the road, we sit in the road like we are human. You can't get the cloud. Why are we like that? Everything is wrong in this nation, then pack your bags and go. Just leave your wealth here. Watch your fire here, leave it here. Go Haiti, go India, go China. It's so poor. This is $2 a month. Who catches the ant out and then my friend was there, the doctor. She gets me $20 a month. She has been paid since the month of February. Yes, December. We get paid every single month during COVID-19. We got paid. I'm a public servant. I got my salary. I was more home than outside. I had clothes to have the clothes fixed. What is wrong with our people? Hate your land. When you hate your land, you hurt yourself. Bless your nation. Well-governed nation.
Thank you. And the rains are down, so if you're not hearing, it's not my fault. It's because of the rain. So again, I mentioned to you all just now, Answer McCall's profits up by 21%. And then we have, bringing up the rear, Republic Bank. Republic profits hits $2 billion. Yes, Republic Bank Financial Holdings achieved a profit attributable to equity holders of $2 billion for the year ended September 30th, 2024. So Answer profits up 21%, Republic $2 billion in profits, right? As opposed to last year where they declared profits of $1.74 billion. So an increase of about $250 million. So if you own the shares in Republic Bank and if you own shares in Answer Macal, you're laughing and smiling all the way to the bank, right? Because your dividend check is practically in the mail and it's looking pretty good. As opposed to when you go into the comments under this post and a set of gripers, well, all that profit, and we ain't getting no interest on my account, and the 1% again. Yeah, well, let's keep griping. Keep griping. And for those of us who have the good sense to buy the shares, as I've been saying countless times, yeah, we will be, well, we don't have to smile at the money going in the bank, right? Capital appreciation, the price of the shares will go up with them kind of profits, and then we also have dividend money to spend, take a trip, but keep complaining. That will help all here. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Dominic,
Leave it there.
what's going on?
All is well. Let me hear what Bacchanal you coming with this
Hey
one.
boy,
Let me hear you.
since good morning. Dominic,
Uh-huh.
back in the days, I think in an Mako on 95.5.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hearing Tony Lee telling Dale, I heard Dr. Rowley calling a name on a platform, but I think I will have to send a bill for him. And the both of them sat and laugh and beat the table. Dominic, tell him that when he meet him for me.
All right. I wish
I'll
you would.
leave it
I
there.
wish you would tell us what Dr. Rowley said. But anyway, I'll let him know. Right. As you say, you getting paid. All right. Because here we say you got send a bill. So that goes contrary to what you told us a couple days ago that Tony Lee fixed. Right? Anyway. Hello.
Good morning to you, Dominic Rumi.
Morning, sir.
How are you?
I am good.
Well, I thought I wouldn't get on this morning because every time rain falls down here, like electricity goes.
Ah.
It came back eventually. Thank God. TNTech working.
Hello. Hello. What's going on there, man? Brian, you there? Okay, I don't know what's going on there. Hello? Brian, like you talk too soon, boy. Okay, I don't know what is going on there. Let me try this again. Brian, I don't know what's going on there. What's going on with you? You gotta call me back, Brian. I don't know what happened there. Like you talk too soon. As is to be expected, Winston Bachelor on the YouTube chat is saying the rich is getting richer. Yes, because the rich know where to put their money, Winston. When are you going to take my advice, Winston, and go and open a brokerage account? You could go to Republic Securities, you could go to Wise, you could go to Reliance Stockbrokers. So many options that you could go to, right? Invest your money wisely now, if you have any. Instead of only complaining about the government and the government. Because I'm pretty sure the government had nothing to do with Republic Bank declaring 2 billion in profits. I'm pretty sure the government had nothing to do with Answer Macal declaring a 21% increase in profits. Pretty sure of that. All right. And I'll just add that, Winston, the woman that you wish to come back as prime minister of this country, just remember she's promising to reduce. So whereas under Keith Rowley, Republic Bank will have to pay a 35% tax rate on that profit. Under her, they will only pay 18. So multiply the 17% by that 2 billion. Well, you know, they have other things that they would have to add for deductions and so on. But just to do basic maths. Keith Rowley say, I want 35%. Kamala say, I only want 18. Who you prefer? All of them who in the comments cussing the government and talking about what the 1% and all of that. Yeah. Keith Rowley say, I know who complaining they ain't getting interest and the small interest and the interest rate on the credit card and they can't get US and all of that and costing the bank. But Kamala say, put her back in office and she will only take 18. And Keith Rowley say, now, all it digging out the eyes of the citizens, making all these profits and they ain't giving back. I will take 35 from you and I will distribute it to the citizens by way of fixing the road, education, healthcare, and so on. But yeah, let me put back Kamala because that making sense, right? Because the 17% that the bank will save, you know what they're going to do? They're going to open more branches and hire more people. Yeah, of course, that's what they're going to do. Yeah. All right. Brian, I know I went on there. Hello?
Morning, Dominic.
Yes, sir. I know I went on there. I say like you talk too soon.
No, it's not true. This current winter again, I saw the
Yes, I tell you, talk too soon.
So let me keep quiet about TNT. Dominic, I'll tell you something. Yesterday I was looking at COP. COP 29. I didn't get the lady's name. But what was said was that she's talking about how much money so far. So give me the stats on the Gaza war. How many people have died so far? She said, let's talk numbers. That's what she said. And she said, over 43,000 people are dead so far. 70% are children. Yeah? Many of them between the ages of 5 and 9. She also indicated 3,000 are dead from Lebanon. She also indicated how many? 85. No, I'm not talking about this one. 85 tons of bombs have been dropped on the earth for this Gaza war. But people have spent so much money on this war. And when you ask them to spend money because of the climate issue, they say, no, they ain't spending no money. You understand? So people said, no, the priority is what? To destroy and destruction. But they don't want to spend no money, especially the English, on reparation. And they're not spending no money because they're their fault because of climate change. Let's move on. I listened last night to Donald Trump. Because I keep going back to him. Some of the plans that he has, he's asking, because right now they have taken the Senate and they are fighting to see who will be the Senate leader. Listen to what Donald Trump has asked 3 of them, including the one from Florida, his name Rick
Scott.
Something.
Rick Scott.
Because they all want to be Senate leader. He says, listen, I would like people to be processed during Senate arrest. In other words, while the Senate is resting, you want to be able to pass through certain people. In other words, they don't have to be, vetted by the Senate.
Right.
And he wants them to ensure that he's allowed to do this. And then he will determine who is going to make Senate leader. And 3 of them who are vying for that position has agreed to rest the Senate on certain occasions and allow the president, this president-elect, to select who he wants in certain strategic positions without them having to be vetted by the Senate. You hear me? Right now, they discuss some of the people who have already been selected. And they gave a curriculum vitae on many of them. And I will tell you this. When 2025 comes, a lot of people think they're solid as a rock in the United States will find themselves in a different country for Christmas next year.
Mhm.
And when they interviewed one of the guys who has been given, he's been called the czar
Yes.
to deal with people, he was asked a question.
On 60 Minutes.
Are you going to separate parents and children like you all did for that last 4 years?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you find that they are a bit difficult and harsh? What do you plan to do? He said, but no, we have a solution for that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, what is the solution? He said, you send parents and children.
Mm.
In other words, whether you're born in the United States or not, once your parents not from there, you too following them and you're going.
Hmm.
And people talking about Trinidad and Tobago. People talking about Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago, and you want to run up in these states and you want to run here and you want to run there. You want to run with Bump Pelton and you want to run with pay. A man will tell you, find your country and go to hell. Go back where you come from. Huh? And send you and your children after you maybe try to build a life across there for how many years? Especially those who are not properly documented and those who are trying their utmost best to make a living and get documented. That is what is going to happen to many people. But wait, hold on, it's coming. And those who want to talk this country, why this government, since Eric Williams is subsidizing, same cook every morning you get up to make your coffee and make your tea and fry your eggs and your sausage and so on to make your breakfast for yourself and your children and your family. The cooking gas you're using is subsidized. Every single time you light your stove, that gas you're using is subsidized. Because we don't really want the true picture of what we have to pay to travel, even to Tobago, to pay for the same gas that we use when the truck passes in the road. Hey, stop here, boy, give me a tank. What you say, if you want to pay a little less, you put it in the back of your car and you go down by the gas station and you change it for $21. We don't want to get the true picture of what we really and truly have to pay for water. For gas to put in our vehicles, for gas to light our stores. We don't really want that true picture. When we fly to Tobago for $25, all over $260 and over, $50 return. We don't really want that true picture, Dominic. We don't really want that true picture. But you want to fly to countries with bombs flying, and there's no subsidy on anything. And right now it's getting very cold. You have to pay for your oil. And it starts to keep warm. And you have to buy if your clothing is still old, you have to go and purchase clothing. Because it's even getting even colder now because of climate change. And when that's finished, you have to discard it and put on clothes because they're getting so hot. We don't want that. We'll be complaining about Trinidad and Tobago. But let them go. I always say, people always say, so many people leaving the country, so much business leaving. When you ask them, which business the price has left? They can't tell you. How many people have left the country last year? They're sure. Let me talk about something else. They don't have a clue. But they throw things there because they know people will grasp at it. But when you ask them the pertinent question, nurses always leaving. How many nurses left? Nobody could tell you. Which hospitals they're going to? Can't tell you. People flying out. People leaving the country. Oh my God, think so. But then why can't want to buy more planes? Why? Why it is and Samakal and all of these banks and all of these businesses making so much money? Why? Who buying it? Who's doing all the purchasing? Why does every time I go to the grocery, it's not me alone? And I find the line so damn long to reach the cashier. Why? Christmas coming, and even in October now, they can start spending money for Christmas. They hear the jingles. Why? because things so bad? Really? Why did sport workers just only strike around this time? Why? Only around this time, now realize, hey, we need more money. They didn't need money in February, March, April, May, June. Why is around this time? Why does businessmen complaining that all the goods on the port and they can't get it? And the Christmas sales will be too low. And things will be too bad for their businesses. Why? Why they complain about it? If things so bad, what is the importance of? And these are some of the questions we have to ask these people. And when the negativity comes around with Dr. Rowley, this and Dr. Rowley that, I pay them no attention whatsoever. None. Because all of them have food on the table. All of them. I never heard of anybody who died from starvation in Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, there may have one or two, maybe seeing a little bit of have little issues because of the job and so on as the case might be. But at the end of the day, this government has gone out of their way to ensure that even if at the lower end of the financial bracket, you still could carry home something at the end of the day, compared to between 2010 and 2015, when certain people who had no money in their pocket became billionaires overnight. Not millionaires, billionaires. But we don't talk about these things. We don't ask them about how come, but the money gone. $300 million, one in hands of a few friends. And not a word. But everything is about Dr. Rowley and Dr. Rowley and Dr. Rowley, who working so damn hard for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, to ensure that our children have a future. But I will go with him, sir. So they could preach Paul, they could argue Saul, they could say what they want to say, they could spread the propaganda. It matters not to me. I know the assignment, and I am going to stick to it. They could say and do what they want. Dominic, have a good day. Thank you
too,
very
Brian.
much.
Thank you so much. Well said as always. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Morning.
Yes, Dominic, how are you?
I am good.
Well, I enjoy your editorial. Very good.
Thank you.
From Brian. Dominic?
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you something. You see these people in this country, ungratefulness is worse than witchcraft. For them saying that PNM do nothing for the last 10 years, particularly how the government handled the COVID situation. Remember that? And now, compared to the so-called man who is now back into office in the United States as the 47th president, compare how he handled COVID with how Dr. Rowley and the PNM administration handled COVID.
Yes.
And tell me who did a better job? Right? And then I tell me, so like boy, it's a hell of a thing. We in a bumpy ride next year, come next year, come 25. It's going to be very interesting times around the world. And what he's saying about, Brian does talk about the war in Gaza, and then the Ukraine situation. We're in for a very, very interesting time. I don't know. I don't know if the difficult time is coming up. Property is going around. But there's a talk going around in it that election that took place in the United States is not normal enough. You heard talks about, you know who Mr. Elon Musk is, right?
Yes.
He's the computer guy. You also read to that it is alleged that he has a satellite system called Skylink. You ever heard of that?
No.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know what it is. I don't know Brian or Eric or anything. That those numbers that was released, the results. You know, it is alleged that Mr. Musk had access to those numbers already, and it was manipulated to give the gentleman an edge back in the United States, in the White House. And it also said it happened already in 2016 with Russian interference. So it's something that when I look at, I know as far as people are concerned is that a certain groups of people voted back Donald Trump. But that is something that we had to raise eyebrows. It's something that I look at because artificial intelligence is a real and global threat. And it could cause real mischief here in this country, particularly when elections are around the corner.
Yes.
Along with misinformation. So that is something that we have to follow. I know that people think, but it's just a thing going around there right now that something off with that election numbers. Right? It's not normal. It's not normal because the gentleman, when he had his rally, people was sleeping in Joe. Whereas this lady here, she had a large gathering. People was lining up in long numbers. And I saw it on CNN and I saw it on YouTube too. So I don't know. Anyway, like you have a good day. I see they protested in Tobago as well, so I don't know. Maybe it's a coordinated effort. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Oh boy, you too. Hello, good morning. Okay, lost that. Call me back. Caller. Millions in conflict. All right, so Mr. Bachelor has come out yet again with his conspiracy theories.
Morning.
Yes, sir. Morning. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Dominic?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Call Dominic.
Yeah, caller, we hearing you. Go ahead.
Yes, Dominic. Let people play fast with their votes. Right? And also, you will see if the UNC want to take the pattern of the Republican who was in the states. You see what's going on already. Mass deportation, lies to the people. And the African people, some of them, when I give them the vote, and now they're rebelling now. It's the same thing that happened here in Trinidad and Tobago. Let African people pay fast for the vote, right, for a couple dollars. And next thing you know, when the UNC come in, the cut off of gates, it's dollar for them. They can't afford to send the children, African, to school because they can't match 20,000 to 20,000. Let them play fast. As I say, voting has consequences, Dominic. Let me say good morning to Altia, 29 Super C, Donna, and Patty, Daniela, all of them on the chat. Okay, brother? Take care.
Thank you. Again, Winston, he says the government is somewhat in control of banking policies. These policies are not for the benefit of the people, it's for the benefit of the 1%. Really, Mr. Bachelor? Really? Which banking policies is the government in control of? Which banking policies? Tell us now. And how so? Right? This is why the government of Keith Rowley, in recognition of the kind of exorbitant profits that these banks are making, right? That and it doesn't, and the policies of the bank don't benefit the citizens or the customers in large measure, is why they instituted a 35% tax rate for the banks. So if it is the citizens aren't benefiting directly, they will get it back through the government taxing these institutions, and the taxes would be used for the benefit of the citizens. I want you to comment, Winston, on the fact that Keith Rowley did that. Tell the banks, I want a bigger chunk of your profits to go into the coffers of the country to benefit the citizens, as opposed to the woman that you hoping will come back, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, who is saying she will cut that tax rate to 18%. Winston, comment on that. But you wouldn't comment on that because you know there's nothing you could do or say to defend that folly. But you want to talk about the rich getting richer. So when you cut the corporate tax rate in half for banks so that they could keep more of these exorbitant profits, who is making the rich richer, Winston? When Mrs. Persad-Bissessar says she's going to cut the corporate tax rate in half so that the profits that I just spoke to you about with Ansa Makal, I mean, vex, you know, because it means there's more money for the shareholders, right? The shareholders will get richer, but it means the government will take less. So all who complain about the 1% and the 1% this and the 1% that and how much money the 1% making and the wider citizenry suffering, Mr. Winston, are you in support, Mr. Winston Bachelor? of these corporate entities making all of these profits and paying less to the state in taxes, which is what Kamla Prasad-Bissessar is proposing, and saying that when it is they pay less taxes, the tax savings they will use to expand their businesses to do what? Create opportunities for the poor and more job opportunities for the poor. But when Keith Rowley says nothing wrong with the rich getting richer, but the poor must come out of poverty, and when the rich get richer, they create opportunities for the poor, all your vex. Just remember, it is Keith Rowley who took money out of the pocket of the 1% by investing in infrastructure to house state enterprises and ministries, properties that belong to the state, so you're not paying rent. As opposed to Prasad-Bissessar, who was there for 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days, and the same leases that she was complaining about in 2009 and 2010 in the lead up to the election, she renewed all of these leases and continued to put money into the pocket of the same 1% landlords, while the government campus was sitting there for 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days collecting dust and cobweb. It was Keith Rowley who came into office, and as soon as he did so, decided to operationalize government campus and move all of these ministries and government departments out of rented accommodation and put it into state-owned accommodation. So you're no longer paying rent to the 1% and filling the bank account every month with hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in rent. But you wouldn't talk about that. But Keith Rowley making the rich richer. You only need to check Alyssa before they come here with this rubbish. Miss me with that BS. Jenny. Jen.
Yeah, Dominic, you see that talk about the 1%? That's a deflection talk. Because some of them in this country tell us Indian people have all the business, they have all the money. So you can't be turning to tell me that money 1%. When all they say, Indian people have all the business and all the money in this country. So it's really the self we're talking about is the 1%. Because them have all the money the same way. So them can't tell me no trouble about no 1%. Who had the control over the construction industry? Who does get all them big contract, and then is Mutilal, is Calco, you see any African name there? You see the Syrian name there, who it have Emil Elias? That is only one. But the rest of the whole industry dominated by people of him. Then he said, no, I am not complaining against it. I'm making a comparison. Because if all is talking about the 1%, well, then I would expect to see more than Emil Elias are part of the construction industry. But it's only here alone I see there as a 1%, and everybody else is Indian people. So what Choppers are we talking is a deflection. They don't want people to watch them as having real money. They want me to want the quote-unquote the Syrian community as having all the money. But it's always so have all the money in this country, and African people don't have nothing. And I want to say to Ansel Roche, that lout, that leech who works nowhere, don't have a bargaining unit, is a retiree, and live it nice off of the few members of WTU money. You had time to take workers to go up in front Minister Marvin Gonzalez's house. Is it to show people that Minister Marvin Gonzalez have a house and thing where he have place rent out? Because you went there and leave message for the tenants to tell the landlord who is Minister Marvin Gonzalez to give the message. If all went to a work-related issue, what that had to do with demand tenancy rented? Is it only went to show that look, he has house rent out? So he can have house rent out. What are they going in front of the man place? So if only have a work-related issue that comes out of negotiation, why only go and picket in front of the Ministry of Public Utilities down there on Tradwick Road? Why only go and picket the city office who has the authority over filling vacancies and all those things? Why only go there? But only go in front of the man's house that he rent out? And to me, it's to show that he house rent out. But it is alleged that Roger have a 3-story building, that he built a house, he built a swimming pool, it is alleged. Why you carry people there for people to see what you have? But again, all in a set of wickedness, and they're talking about all the workers and them still on 15 salary, 14 salary, because of the fact that they refuse, I'm paraphrasing, they refuse to give all the increase. I want the workers who from TNTech, who are members of WTU, look at Roger, so why always still on 2014 salaries. It can be settled, the period 15 to 17 could have been settled. As Estate Police refused the 6% that TNTech was offering, and it went to industrial court, and by extension, all it went to industrial court too. And the industrial court basically say, for you don't want the 6%, well, only got 000. You can't blame Minister Marvin Gonzalez for that. He don't want to negotiate for you. And why it is only get 000 is because the special tribunal was able to use the evidence given by the TNTech chairman in front of the Joint Select Committee when they were questioning him, and he said that the last time TNTech made a profit was in, I think, 2011, and every year in $1 billion debt. And if it was not for government subvention, he don't know what would have happened to TNTech and reliability and lights and all that. Roger and them knew that because them is big in the union. They knew that. So when TNTech offered the 6%, why did they encourage the members to take it? Because they know TNTech ain't making money. They refused. That's how they end up at 000 in the court. So you can't put that on the minister. You can't put that on the government. The workers have to put that on Ansel Roger for not settling the negotiation in a fair way, not doing due diligence. It's the same thing with Petrotrin. He knew Petrotrin was in debt. He knew what was happening, but continued to behave as though Petrotrin was bringing in real money. The money Petrotrin was bringing in was just enough to buy back crude oil. It wasn't making no profit. But he know them thing. Why when they settled, why he didn't give back the retrenchment money that he get? Why he didn't give back all the benefits he get when Petrotrin was restructured and they pay them out? Why he didn't give back all the monies? Don't let Ansel Roger fool all your TNTech workers. All of might want to listen to me, but sit down and think about it logically. Pointers have only get an increase since. It's not only let's negotiate for ourselves. And they knew that TNTech is making money. It's on the hand side. It's right in the parliament, and it's that what the special tribunal and the industrial court use to make them form the opinion that if the employer say they can't pay more because they're not making money, and they look at the bigger interest, if TNTech wants to pay them more, the interest of the whole nation will be at stake, not just a couple of 100 workers. And based on that, in my opinion, I'm saying that is why they end up saying, well, only 6%, take 000. Blame Roger for that. Petrochem workers blame Roger for what happened to. All you need to understand how some unions just take advantage of the members and put in their head this kind of talk. Is the government, is the union has to go and sit down with the CPO, not the government. All they think, OWTU workers, all they think, OWTU was a big union in this country, come to nothing because McLeod ended up putting an IMS, in my opinion, to run it when he became Minister of Labour. What has Roger done for OWTU workers? What has he done? But he continued to sit down and enjoy the largest all the money while he's a retiree. Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you, Jen. It's time there, 8:48. Right. Winston Bachelor again. Well, I don't know, like your boy Leo have something to do this morning. I'm not seeing him on. When you don't understand economics, right? Let me explain something to you. Go and read the UNC's National Economic Transformation Plan. Right? I'm seeing here, you're saying under Kamala in those banking policies, we would have gotten a lower interest rate on bank loans. All right, let me explain how bank loans work, because clearly you don't know and you're clueless. All right? When the banks have what is called a spread, all right, and they have different rates depending on if your loan is fully secured, unsecured, partially secured, the rate would vary. But you have what is called the prime lending rate, okay? And that is determined in part based on if the central, so the banks deposit money to central bank, okay? And when they need money from the central bank to meet their liquidity needs, the central bank will charge them a rate, okay? A rate of interest for that. And then there would be an add-on to that, which is what they would pass on to you, the customer, when you need to borrow. Right? So let me just explain it to you. So from time to time, the central bank will adjust the prime lending rate or the repo rate. And when they adjust the repo rate, then the banks will adjust their lending rate based on adjustments made. The repo rate, which is the rate that they have interest that they pay. Right? So if the central bank doesn't make those changes, the banks are not going to make any changes. The banks are there to make profits. Profits. The government cannot tell the bank to charge this amount of interest or to charge that amount of interest. Right? They don't have that facility. They cannot do that. The central bank, as I said, has the ability to make some adjustment to repo rate, which will usually be reflected in the bank lending rates. But the government cannot tell the bank to charge lower interest rates. Now, I saw in the UNC's National Economic Transformation Plan where they're saying that when they come into office, they will tell the banks to increase the rate of interest on deposits, right? Deposit rates. I'm going to tell you the problem, the issue with that. If you instruct the bank, which they cannot, to increase deposit rates, the banks will simply say, well, here what? In order for us to increase deposit rates, we get the majority of our income from loans. So if you want us to pay people more interest on their deposits, we are going to have to increase our lending rates to be able to generate the income that we need to pay the higher deposit rates, which means interest rates will be higher on loans. So when you come in to talk nonsense here about under Kamla banking policies, that the interest rates would have been lower on loans, you're talking garbage. Clearly, you have no understanding of how the banking sector works. None. So educate yourself now, Papi, before you come here and talk a pack of nonsense. What's the time there? All right. Hello, good morning.
Dominic?
Morning.
Me again. Are you available later?
Am I?
Available later. Remember, we prayed a couple of weeks ago?
Yes.
Telephone? Hello, Dominic.
Hello? Mm-hmm.
Something to tell you very important for the Canadian government.
Mm.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
We prayed, you and I prayed together when a month ago on the telephone. Remember these words, right?
Yes.
This means to tell you privately that can be seen in public. That is in public. You need to do this, right? When can I call you?
Today kind of tough. So let me play it by ear now, and I probably call you.
Keep your number down.
Yeah, I have your number.
My name is Sharon.
Yes.
Okay? Right.
All right.
Keep this number. I will copy my number later.
Okay.
Give it back.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Hello. Just one quick question. Just one quick question. Since Mr. Winston Barcelona wants to quote and say things that under the previous government, the lending rate was lower. Please ask him to quote the exact figure of the exact lending rate back then to what it is now. Tell him quote his sources in the chat now. You're not going to let him quote nonsense and mislead the public anymore.
Yes.
You're going to call him out and it's nonsense. You're going to call him out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You all see the problem and why it is Donald Trump is now the president-elect of the United States of America. You all see? Listen to the nonsense that this individual, Winston Bashir, the taxes the banks was paying to the government under Kamla was cut under the assumption that those savings would be passed to the people. Winston Bachelor, Kamla Persad-Bissessar never cut any taxes for the banks when she was prime minister. They have put that nonsense into their National Economic Transformation Plan, which was supposed to be their manifesto for 2020. Perhaps you're not aware, they did not win the election in 2020. There was no tax cut between 2010 to 2015 for the banks or anybody else for that matter. The only adjustment to the tax rate was made by Keith Rowley and his administration when they came in and they increased the tax rate, the corporate tax rate for banks and other businesses. So if it is that you, whereas under Kamala, it was a flat rate of 25%, which was what she inherited. Keith Rowley said if your company earns more than $1 million in profits per year, you will pay a 30% tax rate. And for the banks and so on, they will pay 35%. In recognition of the kind of profits that these entities are making. Okay? In recognition of that, Kamala Persad-Bissessar is saying if you put her back in office, that she, because apparently Miss Lady listens to Fox News and she loves Donald Trump apparently, and it has decided to adopt some of his policies where he is saying, if you cut the tax rate for the business sector, that the businesses will use this tax savings, all right, to expand their businesses and pass on to the people. They are not going to do that because the bank's first obligation, contrary to popular belief, it is to their shareholders, the people who went and take the money and bought the shares of the bank. They expect a proper dividend. And so when the bank is the management of the bank is formulating policy and strategy, the overarching responsibility or the overarching objective is to earn high profits for your shareholders. Apparently, you don't understand how the corporate world works. The higher your profits, okay, is the better it is for executive management because bonuses are tied to the performance of the bank's profits. So when you increase the profit margin, then it's bigger bonuses for the executives of the bank. All right? Now, the employees of Republic Bank will also benefit too. Because as a former employee of the bank, I know they have a profit sharing plan. So based on their negotiations with the union, I think it's 6% of the profits goes to the staff in the form of profit sharing. And they give you the option. You could take a percentage of your profit sharing in cash, and the difference, you take it in shares. Right? So at least your shares building up. So the employees of Republic Bank will also share as shareholders. Aside from this, the profit sharing, they will also benefit from the dividends that will be ultimately declared, right? So they get dividend checks, they get their profit sharing, and they have the option because Christmas, the bank doesn't give bonuses. That is the bank's bonus, profit sharing. So like early December or so, they're going to send out certificates to everybody to let them know this is how much your profit sharing is. Please indicate how you would like it. Do you want 100% shares or do you want, when I was there, it used to be 60-40. I don't know if it is a change that I could take 60% in cash and 40% in shares or whatever. You could choose. If you know your finances good and you don't need that, and you say, well, look, I'm using my shares for my retirement, so I will take 100%. You could do that. Understand? But it's about the more profits the bank make, it is better for the executives because their bonuses will look nice. They also have profit share, but they get other incentives. Okay? So this nonsense you're coming with about the taxes that the banks was paying to the government under Kamala was cut. There was no cut. Stop talking rubbish and misinforming, as you call us, coming on the live and talking rubbish and misinforming people. They don't pass on anything to the consumers, to the customers. If the banks, whatever, I don't bank with them anymore. But whatever is the service fee, the monthly service fee, if it's $15 or $20, if it is that you only have $15 in your account and the service fee is $20, when the due date comes for that service fee, they're going to deduct $20 and put your account $5 in minus overdraft, right? And then what happens after that? That $5 in overdraft is going to cost you a $34.50 overdraft fee. Again, that is what it was when I was there. How many years ago? More than 10 years ago. I don't know if it is the figure going up now. So all of that is how they earn and how they are able to realize these type of profits with things like that. Things like that. So that's $34.50 plus $5, that's $39.50 you owe in the bank. When your salary comes in or you put any money in the bank, they take the $39.50, which goes towards their revenue, and then whatever is left over is what you get, for instance. You understand? So this stupidness about cutting the thing and they will pass it on. Where you get that from? Which bank doing that? Which bank? When did they do that? Please tell us. The bank's not about that. To pay you interest, if it is you come with your US dollars and you have US in cash and you decide here what? I have an account in the United States and I want to send this money using to a wire transfer. And I have my US cash. You know what they're doing? They're purchasing your US at the buy rate, $6.10 or so, and selling it back to you at the selling rate. That's what they're doing. So you come out, it's better you hop on a plane and go to the US and put your money in your account for yourself. Or you send in a wire transfer because you had to pay a supplier or something. That is what they do. So the stupidness you come in to talk nonsense here about how the bank they cut the tax rates and so on, so to pass to the people. Which people? You bank with any of these banks? When you benefit? Look, miss me with this nonsense, eh? I'm a good friend, Carol Myers could back me up on that. Right? With respect to profit sharing and these things that they do there. Yeah? Carol know about that. Look, what's the time now? 9 o'clock. Something wrong with Soleil. Alice says, somebody says, I don't beg politicians for nothing. And you PNM people are a bunch of beggars. That's why Rowley treating you like that. Who's saying that nonsense? Let me see what that is. Oh, they don't beg. Yeah, but all you know, all they're good with. All they're really good, you know. I paid all my taxes and own my properties. I'm not renting or begging PNM Rowley for handouts. That's what you all are doing. Really? Really? Who is this individual? Who goes by the name, is it Kelvin or Kevin or whatever it is? Kelvin Keto, boasting that he paid all his taxes and own his properties and he's not renting or begging. And that is what you all are doing. Really? Who it is? Really, Mr. Keto? Who it is begging for baby grant? Who want Kamala to come back so we could get $500 a month to make child? Not the PNM, my friend. Check yourself. Check yourself. Who is it that don't want to pay property tax? Not the PNM. The same people in the PNM who want to implement it, Dr. Keith Rowley and Coleman Burt and all of these people, they pay in their property taxes, my friend. Right? Who it is boasting, oh, we give out food cards, 48,000 food cards, and when Rowley came in, he cut the food cards. Who is it? Who doing that? Not the PNM. So when you all want to come here with your foolishness and talk about, oh, PNM begging, is who really begging? Who begging? You need to check yourself before you wreck yourself, Mr. Keto. Rock so with that. Who talking about land for the landless? You don't have land? Put us back in office, and when we come, we will give you state land so you could go and put up a 2x4. And then in the years to come, you could graduate to a 10x10. Which leader telling the supporters that? Not Keith Rowley. Keith Rowley telling them, well, come. You know what we're going to do? We're going to give you training in agriculture. And then we're going to give you, when you graduate, we'll give you 20,000 to start your business. 2 acres of land. So you could do your agricultural pursuits and start a home. This is what we're doing to encourage entrepreneurship. When it is that Pasad Bissessa talking about, we will create jobs and bring back baby grant and all of this foolishness, only a set of handouts. So check yourself and see who it is really trying to push the handout syndrome, not PNM. So there's dotishness. All I like to talk about PNM people begging and begging. Go and check and do anyway. I ain't going on that road with Ole. Right? Something very wrong with Ole. When Ole wants to come with this set of dotish, talk about PNM people begging and PNM people begging. Miss us with that BS. I'm sure if you were to go and check to see the majority of people who want social welfare, see which party they belong to now. Huh? Complain about how they cut the food card, the amount of the food card. Really? Sick and tired now with this dotish talk. Nonsense. Alches says UNC had to sing for their supper. That's all they could do to get people to vote for them. Because they don't have some freeloaders who don't want to work. But promise them that, yeah, come, $500 a month to make child. $120 million all set aside to create baby grant. Come, we'll give all you $69 a day to paint buildings, dilapidated buildings that should be torn down and rebuilt so that the people can have a better standard of living. But when it is the PNM government wanted to do that, it's UNC people who went and tell them, nah, don't let them do that, don't let them put all your, because you know what's going to happen? They come in to take all your property and they want to give it to the 1%. Make sure they pay all your, make sure it's $1 million. They ain't give all you nothing less than $1 million for property that you're owing on. Rent donkey years. But always want to come and talk stupidness about PNM people begging. Well, they keep up that. I hope PNM people remember that. Come next year, 2025, general election, continue to run all the dotish ads about PNM people and bananas, right? And PNM people eating grass. continue to get persons of African descent to do these ads, as if the rest of us stupid and we don't see the subliminal message that you all send in when you come with that dotish talk. Go ahead. But there's some of them who knuckleheads who will totally ignore it, right? But anyway, Eric, you're late again, sir, but I will allow you. Last call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you're late. You're late.
Morning. Oh gosh, forgive me. Namaste, morning to all the listeners, callers, our facts persist of one thing. You see them fellas and them, Dominic, them just being paid to come and disrupt your life every single time. But you see, English and understanding the components of English is the biggest challenge in the UNC as we speak. That is why you have the likes of Winston Bachelor and these fellas, because they love the education you give to them. You understand? So by doing that now, you are inspiring them to go and give the correct information to the people that they deem that full of propaganda and misinformation, and they're going to share the gospel truth to them. Right, with that being said and done, Dominic, you see Jayanti Ramdas. You see that woman who holding the title of the Auditor General. It goes to show that her yellow bloomers is displaying in full regalia. Because we all know, right, that the attorney that you would have hired have an grievance with Dr. Rowley. You remember the witness tampering statement with David West? So right now, the Anna Ram goats have an axe to grind with Dr. Rowley, the PNM. So he will be gladly to take up any matter, right, to cause problem with the PNM and the government. So Jayanti left her legal team in the financial sector and run to Ram Logan. We know what is going on there. You see, but the media want to push this narrative, right? That, hey, hear what? It's true, you know, this taking place. So let me pour that $2.6 billion out there for the public and the people who are ignorant and they will run with it, while we try to build the UNC to get them a footing, so we can get them a little foot to stand up on to battle in the election next year. We know that with the likes of Akan Samaru, Urvashi Tiwari Rupnarain, and around all of these media personnel propping up Kamla. So I don't, whether yes, Dominic, you could come here 100 times and speak the gospel truth. They will continue to happen to the misinformation that the media is pushing in the public space. And mind you, they're not putting out the information with the EMBD. You ain't hear nothing about that. You ain't hear nothing about EMBD and Munilal. The last thing we heard, it got postponed, the submissions, what he was supposed to submit, but she didn't. It got pushed back until the 6th of next month, right? And they're going to continue it like that going forward into next year. Now, it wouldn't surprise me, Dominic, if this EMBD matter with the submission will run until next year, April, May, June, July, August, because they will continue pushing as the date gets closer to the election. So they will have a whole year to continue with the misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda. So let me leave EMBD for the meanwhile. Let me deal with Forex. Like they forget under Kamla Pusavi's sister that the Forex was the media, Dominic, want to continuously push a narrative in this country. And it is the onus is on we, the right thinking citizens, to get the correct information and debunk all the foolishness that is being portrayed in the public space. Look, I would have saw something on Express, right? Express put out a video. Now you know, Dominic, well, you know Port of Spain. You know when you come into Port of Spain, or you're going out on onto the main road. It's about a road you could swing to go onto the highway by I forget the Mala Street. Now that area, that road always have water. So you can't tell how bad the road is with potholes or whatever, right? Express decide to do a video. And I fully well know it's one of the UNC operative in Express House. They chose to do a video, right? Well, a driver vehicle got stuck in the water in the road. I don't know how deep the pothole is, right? But nobody already passed there, so I don't know why he passed there. But anyway, so Express decided now to put out a video stating, "Welcome to Port of Spain," and they have the pushing car stuck in the water. So this is me. I say this is where the media reach now. All you going before all you promote all the good areas and the goodness of the country. All they decide to do this because you know why? One is a PNM area, and two, the road in the state of the road in the condition of the road. So it goes to show that the media again is promoting everything negative to give the government at the end of the day a negative light on them and prop the UNC going forward. But I have something to tell the media association in this country. Jump high, jump low. The superior Bat and her bunch of cronies will not, and I repeat, will not see the corridors of power in this country for a very long time. And I will make sure that happens. You understand? So, in the meanwhile, just like what Jenny said, the Trinidad and Tobago Media Association, Hall. Dominic, good program. Not gonna listening.
Thank you, sir. Right. But anyway, folks, it is 9:12. Let me jump over here because if I go to engage this guy again, I'll probably be here until 12 o'clock. Yeah. Oh gosh. I enable I know. Right. They really say there's no cure for stupid. And some people, it don't matter what you try, how you try to educate them, it just waste of time. So remember, I'll not be on Thursday, folks, as I will not be here. I'll be in Tobago. Thursday, no show. Sunday too is also tentative because Tuco is supposed to be having training for Calypso judges over the weekend. So I'm to confirm if I would be in the Sunday cohort, and if so, well, depending on the time, we might have an issue, right? So let me just take Jenny here, and then I will take my leave. Jenny.
Yeah, Dominic. Yeah, just quick story about that. It is alleged. I heard it on Darian's show yesterday. It is alleged there's a certain reporter, just showing you how, if it is true, how far this thing when it's alleged, there's a certain reporter, she was going on retirement to fly out, and they called she back to do the story. We have seen what the PNM internal, the general counsel thing, and who coming out and talking and all that. So that just to show you, they have a vested interest in getting people to keep pushing and fueling the fires with the feel they could put in the PNM to get people to think a particular way. And as Eric Stanley saying again, we ain't taking on them, to the media, because we know it looks like, in our opinion, that only supporting a weak UNC. It was said, it was asked, and people meet a poll, and people agreed. A large percentage agreed that the media is working with a weak UNC to make them look good. And we're not going to fall for that. I'm going to tell the media association, and all of them who doing that, or your hall, because we know the truth. And that is why Guardian Media must be losing so much money, is because they're not carrying the right thing, and they probably don't have qualified people to do the work like Dominic Calipostyle and so much of them reporters and journalists used to have it. They had that again. It have people reading headline now, saying down in their house and looking at social media and making stories from that and putting it in the papers. It had nobody going out on the field again. The last time what's she name? Uvashu ever went out, a man saying sign language to say the plane, helicopter crash and thing, and she think it's not even sign language, people can understand, and she there with the man and say, and he said drop there and what kind of chop. Guys, we have some reporters now in this country, a set of dunce in my opinion. They don't have the qualification like a Dominic Calipostyle and all the others we used to have in this country again. So we see all in the media, we see all and we understand, and we say, oh look, we will bring the information if we want to bring it, and people will see it and know it, and they will say it and they will spread it. That is what we will do, Dominic. Have a blessed one again, and sorry for calling back again.
That's quite all right, Jen. Right, folks, so that's our final call for today. Thank you all, as always, for joining me. Always a pleasure. I shall try not to read any more comments on either one of the two platforms because, yeah, as I said, I can't help but engage them. Yeah. Coach is asking him, Winston Bachelor, how you felt when we were told of our slave master names. He probably applauded that and said, Camille deserved that. I wouldn't be surprised. Folks, thank you all. And Agnes Mondesir, always a pleasure. Who else is there? Alison Phipps. Indeed. Philip, sorry. Lawrence Gibbs, greetings, sir. Long time. Someone says we need Trump here. Okay, good luck with that. So we'll chat again. Well, yeah, we'll play it by air, folks. So as I said, I won't be on Tuesday and Sunday. If not, I'll just post it on the page if I'm not coming on, and then I'll try and see if I post it on YouTube as well for those of you who take us in on YouTube. Yeah. So thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Remember, it's a wet one. Keep safe on the black carpet. Don't speed, because we want you all back here so that we can continue to have the discussion, and we need all of you to execute the assignment in 2025. Yeah, we don't want a repeat of what has happened in the US taking place here. So enjoy your day, and we chat again soon.